ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Teams 29 and 30 to start this 2013 NFL season. The old rivals have been meeting now in their 80th year. Banging heads, the Eagles and the Redskins. All set. Mike Shanahan and the Redskins. Year 4 for Mike. Chip Kelly's team won the toss, and we'll get a look at the offense right away. They chose to receive. Kai Forbath set to kick. Damaris Johnson back to receive. And off we go with season 44 Monday Night Football. Johnson from 8 yards deep takes a knee. One of the immediate questions with this Eagle offense, and you're going to see a lot of names that you know. How fast will they go? What will be the tempo? How many plays can they squeeze in with Vic and McCoy and Deshaun Jackson? Remember, they're missing Jeremy Maclin. Hurt his knee in the preseason. We will not see him this year. Their offensive line is good. It is a strength of this team, as John has talked about. See what the tempo is starting here. Riley Cooper, the receiver, in motion. Vic's first pass is caught by Cooper. He gains a half dozen to the 26-yard line.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Ron Winter, the head official, allows the ball to be spotted tonight. That's the speed limit Chip Kelly is looking for. How fast will this officiating crew spot the ball?
11 seconds to spot it, 6 to snap it. Vic in the slot, Brent Selleck to midfield and into Redskin territory for a first down.
Flow goes one way, the linebackers bite, and there goes Selleck right down the seam. These tight ends are a big component in this Chip Kelly offense. Third different formation. Spread.
Gain of 28. Third pass. It's Deshaun Jackson. Gets a block on the edge. And Jackson's to the 30-yard line. Gain of 16. Buckle up. Here we go.
Zone read with a built-in bubble screen. And in this offense, you need receivers that can block. That time Avant and Riley Cooper sustain the perimeter well for Jackson, who's very dangerous.
Next to the game clock is the play clock. It resets at 40 when a player goes down in bounds. So it takes 18 seconds from the end of the last play to this play. A run by LaShawn McCoy. Gains about 6.5 yards. They've run 4 plays in a minute.
You think this offense takes the crowd out of the game? All this screaming and yelling 5 minutes ago. It's as quiet as I've ever seen it early in a season opener. These fans don't know what hit him.
Zach Ertz just came in. He's the rookie out of Stanford. He's at the top of the screen. And a man in motion in front of Vic. And Vic with time to toss to Selleck. It's incomplete for Brent. So John, the Redskin defense is trying to catch its breath and adjust to what Chip Kelly and Michael Vick are doing with pace. Good up front. We'll watch Barry Cofield, who has an injured wrist. The linebacker, London Fletcher, 59, has a lot of pressure. In the secondary, I want to point you to the strong safety, 37, Reed Dowdy. Why? He's starting because Brandon Merriweather is out with a groin injury. 3rd and 4 in field goal range. It'll be a McCoy run. And LaShawn spinning, yard shy of the first down. Here's the first decision for Chip Kelly at 4th and 1.
Chip Kelly loves to go for it. He went for it 118 times at Oregon, and it looks like there's no decision here, Mike. He's going to stay on a gas.
Yeah, and go for it, John, with the personnel out there. With no short yardage personnel in for Washington. 4th and 1. It's a run with McCoy, who's got the first down to the 17-yard line.
They told us they were going to go fast. I've never seen it this fast. And Chip Kelly has the Washington Redskins on their heels. This is where it gets interesting. In the red zone, the play selection changes. You see a little confusion in the Eagle offense right now.
They still have 18 on the play clock, so they have time to sort it. One of the advantages of not huddle and staying at the line. And Vic, Harrigan around the edge, got blocked. Vic buying time. Throws on the run. Almost caught off the deflection by Deshaun Jackson. In the back of the end zone, incomplete.
Look at Barry Cofield, number 96, Stephen Bowen, 72. They're tired. They can't find the ball. They're not used to this tempo. I don't care how you simulate it on the practice field or in the meeting room. You can't simulate live game day tempo that you've never seen before.
Interesting to see if Philly can keep up this tempo. McCoy dancing to the left. LaShawn McCoy picking up blockers. McCoy inside the 5. First and goal, Philadelphia.
Genetics is a big part of this offense. Spread system. You got to make one-on-one tackles. There's a missed tackle. Another missed tackle. And don't forget, LaShawn McCoy is one of the most difficult men to bring down in one-on-one situations.
Gain of a dozen. First and goal from the 4. The umpire has to go behind the defense inside the 5. Vick surveys. That's knocked down. I don't know if that was a forward pass or not. They're going to pick it up and run with it. That was not called incomplete on the field. And running back the other way are the Redskins and D'Angelo Hall. I think that's a backward pass and a touchdown as Hall goes all the way the other way. On the field, no incomplete call. And Ron Winter signals touchdown Redskins.
And I think we're going to have a review here, Mike, but this is one of the things we talked about. A lot of these passes in this Philadelphia Eagles spread offense almost look like backward passes.
It's where the ball is as Vick throws it, and where does it go? He throws it from the 9. It's batted down by Ryan Kerrigan. That's going to be really hard to look at. We'll watch it from this angle. There'll probably not be an angle directly down the line of scrimmage. Where is Kerrigan as he bats the ball down there?
The ruling on the field is a backward pass advanced by the defense.
Again, because it's a scoring play, there's automatic review. Ron Winter gave the ruling on the field, now has been buzzed down, and will tell the crowd that this play will be automatically reviewed. Again, backward pass, where the ball was when Vick threw it, where was it hit by Kerrigan? Was it backwards and a touchdown?
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. IHOP's famous stuffed French toast, now with luscious new fruit and vanilla cream toppings. And NFLShop.com. Get free shipping on orders today at the official store of the NFL.
Breathless start here, and tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Ron Winter, the referee, is looking in replay at that last play. Ruled on the field a backward pass, thus advanceable by the defense and a touchdown. Jerry Austin, twice the referee in the Super Bowl, is with us every Monday night. Jerry's looking at the same replays. What do you see, knowing that it has to be conclusive, a forward pass in replay, to overturn the call on the field?
Conclusive. It has to be conclusive. That's where it leaves his hand and where it's first touched that makes the determination whether it's a forward pass or not. He leaves his hand at about the 9.5-yard line, and it's difficult to see for sure, but it appears that when he touches it, he's at the 9.25-yard line.
So your initial thought is there enough there in replay to say incomplete pass?
I believe there's enough there to say incomplete pass.
Okay, so Ron Winter will have to have that conversation. Interesting with Vick as a lefty throwing in that direction certainly changes where the ball is released from. If he's a righty and where McCoy is, that's not an issue.
And that's bad football right there by Philadelphia. The drop of Michael Vick and the route that LaShawn McCoy runs aren't in concert together. Vick has to be at a different level than McCoy. This is, to me, a lateral, a backward pass, and a touchdown for the Redskins.
All right, Ron Winter has made his decision after looking at the replay. He had multiple officials over there, and they're running towards the extra point.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
Again, keyword is stands, not confirmed. Not enough in replay to overturn it. The touchdown belongs to D'Angelo Hall. Ryan Kerrigan, who had an interception in the regular season, and in a preseason game this year against Pittsburgh, had a pick six of Ben Roethlisberger, does it again getting in the throwing lane, and the Redskins take an early lead.
Great play by Kerrigan, and that's a sloppy pattern by LaShawn McCoy. And Philadelphia pays dearly for what was an outstanding opening drive.
Kai Forbath is on for the extra point. Savaraka, the punter, is the holder. Well, We'll get to Robert Griffin at some point. 7-0 Redskins. And we wondered the tempo of the Eagles and what would it do. John, that initial drive just gave you a little bit of a sense of it.
Saw a little bit of everything. They opened the game with a quick completion of Riley Cooper. They're up and at him again. Play action pass. They fool the linebacker. There goes Selleck. They jump the ball again. They throw a bubble screen to Jackson with blockers out front. Great execution, and they move the ball at will. Then a simple power play. LaShawn moves the pile. And then it's a beautiful cutback run, and you see the expertise by McCoy. And sets up the first and goal, and unfortunately, lightning strikes. You have to execute, and McCoy, as good as he is, I think he might have gotten a little tired there in the red zone, Mike. When you run a check wide flare, you can't lose ground. Otherwise, that will be a backwards pass, and I'm sure that's what head coach Chip Kelly's telling him right now.
And John, as we prepared for this, you watched a lot of Oregon tape, and we were very aware that backward passes and staying in phase, that means the running back running with the quarterback, or the receiver, potentially, has to be aware that a pass coming backwards could come even past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to need Jerry later, I think, Mike.
Damaris Johnson back again for the 4-back kick. 8 yards deep and no return. Well, John, on the defensive side of this, there is Ryan Kerrigan, who, along with Brian Arakpo, and you had those guys on the bus, we heard from the Monday Night Countdown, what a difference they will make for this Washington team if they can both stay healthy this year.
Uncommon players. Kerrigan had 8.5 sacks last year, also batted down 7 passes. He's a difference maker. And to have Arakpo back on the other side, you can't do much better than those two bookends.
10 plays in 3 minutes and 6 seconds on the opening drive. Act 2 begins at the 20. And there goes the speedy Deshaun Jackson. Tripped up at the 46 by Bakari Rambo, the rookie safety out of Georgia.
The more you spread your offense out, the more the defense has to spread out. And the more space Deshaun Jackson has to run after the catch. So far, he's looked fast.
Gain of 26. It's a read. It is a big crease from McCoy. Tackle after the first down by David Amerson, the corner.
They're running a zone read with a built-in pop pass. Vic can hand the ball to McCoy, or he can throw the pop pass to Selleck. He's got 3 ways to go, and Washington can't figure out what to do.
It's a chain moving gain of 10. 19 seconds between plays there. And Kerrigan stops McCoy. So too does London Fletcher. A huge person in this game is Fletcher tonight.
Yes, he is. He's 38 years old. He's going to be exhausted. He's got to recognize the formation and call the defense and echo what the defense is to his front and to his secondary. And then he's got to go make a play, Mike.
Bryce Brown is now the running back. And here goes the second-year man out of Kansas State. About 2.5 yards shy of the first down. John at 38. Fletcher made that tackle. He is the oldest position player, non-special teamer in the NFL.
And he's not getting much help from the sideline. He's got to rely on his wristband to get the information of his weekly film study. And so far, he's under siege.
Bryce Brown, 3rd and 2 run. Through a tackle and inside the 30-yard line as Bakari Rambo makes the tackle.
It helps when you have a big, fresh, complimentary back like Bryce Brown. Ran for over 500 yards last year, and they like his size and in between the tackles running.
Michael Vick. Some time and a slingshot pass for Jason Avant, who along with Riley Cooper and Deshaun Jackson gives them 3 good receivers to execute this Chip Kelly spread offense.
And there is no pass rush whatsoever. They are worried about the zone read. They are worried about the scrambling of Michael Vick. They're dealing with the fatigue of this no-huddle offense, and so far they haven't come close to pressuring Michael Vick.
That's Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator, twice a head coach in the NFL, trying to figure it all out. 2nd and 10, they bring 5, and Vick fires incomplete behind Zach Ertz, one of the 3 tight ends. And here's the play calling here. John, it used to be a bunch of hand signals and signboards. Chip Kelly has the advantage they didn't have in college. Coach to quarterback headset communication.
No question, Michael Vick is listening clearly to Chip Kelly. The eligibles are looking at the sidelines for signals. 3rd and 10.
Former Oregon Duck Jeff Mayle is in. He's in the slot. Vick being pursued. Buying time. And it's caught. And let's see if it's incomplete. Comes out of the hands of Ertz as E.J. Biggers was there. Went to the ground and couldn't complete the act of the catch. So it's 4th down and a field goal attempt is coming up.
And I am shocked Michael Vick did not throw the ball to Riley Cooper. He's running to his left. And Cooper took it up the field and was wide open for a touchdown. You see the ball thrown into traffic.
And the missed pass interference call.
That's right, but take a look at Cooper. He's going to take this up the field. He's wide open. Vick never saw him. I'm surprised he did not see that running to his left.
48-yard field goal attempt. Alex Henry. And a whistle and a challenge flag was thrown by Chip Kelly before his kicker got the kickoff. He thinks that might have been a catch. And it's going to be one of the issues in all Eagles games. Do you get a look at the replay of the play because they go so fast? You can't miss a play live.
Philadelphia was challenged a ruling on the previous play of an incomplete pass.
Might want to challenge whether or not pass interference is a call. Wish you could.
Yeah, it's not in the rules. Timeout. 2 challenges, a wild touchdown, 18 plays. We've only played 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Ruling on the field's incomplete. Chip Kelly's field goal kicker was in the process of kicking a good one from 48 when he threw the flag. Jerry Austin back in here, our referee, our officiating expert. What do you see here?
Well, the ball touches the ground there, and then it pops right up. In completing the process of a catch, when you're going to the ground, when you hit the ground, you must maintain control.
And there gets the side, touches the ground there. And Ron Winter, the referee, has the final verdict.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is an incomplete pass. Philadelphia is charged with a team timeout. Makes it 4th down.
And even if Chip Kelly is correct, if he does use a second challenge, he cannot earn a 3rd. So Alex Henry's gotten his leg loose. He'll get another shot at a 48-yard field goal out of the hold of the new punter here in Philadelphia, for Philadelphia, I should say, Donnie Jones. All-American at Nebraska. 3rd year is the Eagles kicker, Henry, from 48 again. Coach didn't ice his own kicker. Henry bangs it through. 2 Eagles possessions and each team has scored. And now the long-awaited return of RG3 when you come back. 18 plays all belong to Philadelphia. And the Eagles offense moved the ball well, but the turnover led to the D'Angelo Hall fumble return, technically for a touchdown. The field goal by Henry, and it's 7-3 Washington, leading and ready to get their hands on the ball for the first time. Chris Thompson taking over the return duties here for the Redskins. And the 5th-round pick out of Florida State has no return. And Robert Griffin III returns to the field for the Redskins. Really hard to express the magnetic quality of Griffin, Offensive Player of the Year, coming out of Baylor as the #2 pick behind Andrew Luck in the draft of 2012. This 23-year-old has really re-energized this franchise, winning the last 7 last year, taking them to the playoffs. Alfred Morris behind him was a huge part of the offense's success. He fumbled the football, and the Eagles have it right away, and Michael Kendricks with the recovery. Eagle ball at the 25 and a scrum, and a little bit of a scuffle post-play.
Ball is clearly out, and that's one thing the Philadelphia Eagles struggled to do last year, and that's generate turnovers. That time, Trent Cole, who's converted as an outside linebacker, walks this down from the backside, and that ball's out. But Philadelphia struggled to create turnovers a year ago, and what a great start for this Eagle defense under new defensive coordinator Bill Davis.
It's an Eagle defense that committed only 13 turnovers, or caused only 13, all last year. And Alfred Morris, who was second in the league to Adrian Peterson with 1,613 rushing yards, sees Cole's first regular season play as a linebacker, a defensive end for a long time, turn into a turnover.
As fast as Philadelphia likes to play on offense, the one thing the quarterback cannot do is rush a decision with this frenetic tempo. So far, Vic has made very good decisions, and that's hard to do sometimes, Mike, when you're playing this fast. This is the 19th play for Philly already.
The defense is sitting there going, are you kidding me? I thought we were going to get at least 5 minutes to catch our breath. From the Washington 25, it is Vic with Tom. Fires end zone. Touchdown. DeSean Jackson and the Eagles take the lead.
Tried to tell you, there's more offense in Chip Kelly's background than people think. That time, Michael Vick goes under the center, and they steal a play that Chip Kelly's been studying, the New Orleans Saints run. Fullback's going to come across the formation and secure the backside all day to throw, and Michael Vick shreds it. It's just too easy. There's no contest there. Free safety's out of the middle. He bought the fake, and we've seen just about everything, Mike.
Extra point is good. So the fumble recovery by Kendricks, caused by Cole. 8 seconds later, it's Vic to DeSean Jackson. We've only played 6 minutes and 1 second. That's enough highlights for a whole game. Well, it is a small sample, but the answer is it will be exciting if it continues like this. 19 plays to Washington's 1. One of those plays turned into a touchdown for the Redskins.
Think those players love the way they're playing offense now?
That was the question. If it worked, they would be very happy. So far, they are. No return by
Chip Kelly came down to my office and he said, hey, what's that play the Saints run? They bring a fullback across, they fake the ball over here, and they run a post with a deep cross. I said, I think it's 97 fist. He said, let's put that in. Michael Vick got under the center for the first time tonight and ran a play-action pass. I have not seen Philadelphia run that play ever.
And, John, there's a lot of volume, and you can see what you were saying. DeSean Jackson, these guys like the tempo, the esprit de corps, and the abilities that they have to make plays in this offense. And you can see it with their reaction after that one. Take 2 for RG3 in the Redskin offense. From the 20, right back to Morris, who fumbled the play and go. Strung out, knocked out, loss of 3 on the play. Connor Barwin and Michael Kendrick show him the sideline. We told you Morris and the great year he had as a rookie along with Griffin. This is a very good receiving corps. It's not just Garcon and Morgan and the return of Fred Davis. They have Santana Moss, a couple other receivers, and Hankerson and Robinson, who you may see. John, what do you think of the Redskins' offensive line anchored by Trent Williams?
Very athletic, and it allows them to be effective in this zone running scheme. But so far, Philadelphia has knocked it out twice.
RG3's first throw, but a flag is down as it's caught on the left side of the offense by Fred Davis. Out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Gain of 8 if it stands, but it won't.
This illegal motion on the Redskins. A little anxious early.
Illegal shift. 2 men moving in the backfield. Did not set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Gives us a chance to introduce you to the Philadelphia defense. John mentioned Bill Davis is their new coordinator. Some new faces, a lot of them. Isaac Sopoaga comes over from the 49ers. 3-4 set. They used to be a 4-3. Connor Barwin used to play with the Texans. D'Amico Ryans in the middle. Trent Cole goes from defensive end to linebacker. Questions about the secondary, right, John?
Yes, a lot of new faces, particularly at corner.
Second and 18 after the flag. Morris with 3 linemen blocking. It's back past the original line of scrimmage, and 3rd and 9 will come. Michael Kendricks the tackle after a gain of 9.
Good time for a screen pass. You're going to see Morris leak out to his right. Alfred only caught 11 passes last year, but good phasing. The linemen are out front. But you see Michael Kendricks, number 95, a very productive linebacker in this Eagle defense. They're going to ask a lot of him in this 3-4 alignment.
Santana Moss, the veteran, is in the game. In the slot for Robert Griffin. 3rd and 9. The Eagles rush 5. Griffin down the middle is intercepted. Trying to get it to Moss, but Brandon Boykin with the pick. And chased out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
That's a bad decision by Robert Griffin. 3rd down and long. He's late down the middle, and the man he's throwing it to is covered. And that's 2 turnovers for this Philadelphia Eagle defense. They had 13 all last year.
I think the ball is going to go back near the spot of the pick. Boykin was knocked down, but 2 possessions, 2 turnovers, Washington. Open the season with a Monday night doubleheader. Chris Berman, Trent Dilfer out in San Diego as J.J. Watt. And the division champion Texans go see Phillip Rivers and the new look Chargers under Mike McCoy coming up next here on ESPN. Back here in Washington, the Eagles lead 10-7. The Redskins have turned it over on their first 2 possessions. Only 4 plays they've run. And they are now just reviewing the spot, as we said, going to break. Let's look at the play first, John.
Well, it's 3rd down and long. They do a nice job, Philadelphia does, keeping Griffin in the pocket. I think it's just a bad decision. Robert didn't look like he finished on his front foot there, but I didn't like the decision. Boykin clearly had Moss covered right down the seam, and Morris, a 1,600-yard back, fumbles on the first play, and the Rookie of the Year, RG3, throws an interception. And really, the false start, the illegal motion penalty, put them behind in the down and distance. Washington needs to settle down. We had a feeling there could be some rust on RG3 early. Let's not forget that.
Let's go back to that play for a second. You can clearly see that Santana Moss's arm hit Brandon Boykin as Boykin went down. So the spot's going to be moved back about 7 yards from the 41 to the 48. Well, let's deal with what you just said, Griffin. Went through 7-on-7s, 11-on-11. So he was involved in the number of reps in training camp, but he didn't play in a game. And the question was rustiness. And coming off that knee, can you drive off that back foot and throw the ball effectively? That's going to be something that we've seen every quarterback who comes back from one of these injuries have to be a hurdle to get over.
That's what we said in the pregame. How healthy is he? Especially when the bullets start flying. And the bullets are flying. Philadelphia is playing with great energy.
Sure.
So far, we haven't seen a zone read. We haven't seen Griffin look like he wants to take off and run with it himself. But we've only seen 4 or 5 plays, and 2 of them have been turnovers.
And you were talking about the questions when we discussed this all weekend. One of the big ones that I poised to you was, what happens when bodies are around his legs? Because you can protect a guy even in 11-on-11, but when it's live, Connor Barwood and Trent Cole, they want to come get after the quarter, not hurt him, but they want to be around his legs and bring him down.
Hard position to play. Really hard to play when you're tentative, and so far he looks a little tentative, and you can understand why.
Here's the call on the spot from Ron Winter.
After the interception, the player was touched down by contact at the 48-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 7:20. First down, Philadelphia.
So the pick by Brandon Boykin and that Eagles secondary that John talked about. Boykin coming out of Georgia in his second year was a 4th-round pick. Tremendous vertical. The question was at 5'10", how effective could he be? Certainly as a nickel has a great role in this league, perhaps. And comes up with a pick there. He only has to wait a couple possessions to get it.
Shot time right here if you're Chip Kelly and the Eagles after a sudden change in this field position.
This is their 4th possession of the opening quarter. And on the read, it's given to McCoy, and LaShawn McCoy gets out of bounds near the 30-yard line.
Zone blocking by this Eagle offense. They're going to zone block right into the blitz. And LaShawn McCoy gets the edge and thrashes the Redskins off tackle. Actually, you saw a little sweep scheme where they pulled the offensive tackle, but this offensive line dramatically improved from a year ago.
Gain of 16. Vick's going to keep running behind the line so he can throw it forward to Jackson at the 27, and a late flag comes in.
It's like we have holding down the field, possibly Riley Cooper, who was sustaining a block.
Pass interference. Offense number 81. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Jason Avant on the
They were
call.
blocking down the field on what was a forward pass, Mike. And a lot of these bubble screens, a lot of these perimeter tosses, the ball is thrown so late that the coordination of the routes down the field with the pattern itself, we've seen a fumble for a touchdown, and that's an offensive pass interference that you don't often see.
So it's 1st and 20. Vick reading it, keeping it, and waiting for him after the gain of a couple of yards is Perry Riley, linebacker who's underrated and underappreciated. John, you talked about downfield blocking. That's something opposing coaches are going to make the officials aware of in their pregame meetings.
It's a big part of this offense, and as a defensive secondary coach, you have to have corners and safeties that can get off blocks and make open field tackles.
Vick ducks out of one, not the second one. Back-to-back plays by Perry Riley out of LSU.
I like that. Jim Haslett's getting involved now, the Redskins defensive coordinator, bringing blitzes. Number 91, Kerrigan, unaccounted for, and that's a mop-up sack for Perry Riley, outstanding inside linebacker.
3rd and about a quarter of the field. If they can get 16, they'll be in field goal range. And McCoy with a run to the 40. From here, a field goal will be 58 yards. So likely to punt it away.
Very important stop by this Redskin defense. And a new punt returner here, Mike, number 25, rookie Chris Thompson. They've struggled here in Washington to find a man that can do this job. Brandon Banks is gone. Crawford got hurt in the preseason game, and young Chris Thompson took one back last week in the final preseason game for a touchdown.
You mentioned that there is a new punter for Philadelphia, Donnie Jones. It's a fair catch inside the 5, which usually is the red zone for punt returners. Red meaning stop, don't catch it. Thompson does. 10 minutes gone by, 2 turnovers and 2 possessions for Washington. So much talk about the comeback. What a year it was for Robert Griffin III, winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year with good reason. NFL rookie records for his passer rating, which incorporates so many of the passing stats, interceptions at a very low rate, lowest by a rookie in NFL history, and the rush yards, 815, most ever by a rookie quarterback in the league. That's why the story's become so big of his return 8 months after the knee surgery. At the 5, Griffin will throw, looping it out to his fullback, Darrell Young, and couldn't hang on. Here's Lisa Salters.
Hey, Mike, well, remember we asked Robert Griffin if he thought he was going to be a little bit rusty, and he said, no way, that's not my mindset. I think that I'm going to play well, and I am definitely not going to use that as an excuse. But as you guys said, maybe just a little bit tentative out there in those first 2 series. And don't discount the emotions of the night for him. I got to talk to him right before the kick, and you could tell he was feeling some emotions. He said that, you know, it's hard to describe what I'm feeling. I can't really describe it. I just know that I'm ready to go play with my guys. Mike?
If you watch it play out, look out! Mistake in the end zone. Morris will fall on it, and it's a safety. So in a week where we had 3 first-quarter safeties in week 1, it's the second mistake by Morris, and the Eagles get on the safety party. It's 12-7.
This is a nightmare. Reverse pivot. They're going to toss the ball to Morris. I think he just drops the football. It's not a great pitch. The ball should be in the cylinder of his body, but a lot of people have questioned Alfred Morris's hands Griffin needs to give him a better pitch, especially in this situation. But right now, this Redskin offense is in reverse.
Does that have something to do with not being there all training camp?
There's no question. When you don't play well. That's been my feeling at the quarterback position, especially when you're dealing with a young quarterback. I know Peyton Manning played without having a preseason. I heard Tom Brady did it as well. But remember, this is a young man who's very excited. And across the field is Michael Vick, who's putting on a show right now. And he wants to go out there, I'm sure, and play extremely well. And he's pressing a little bit. He'll come around.
So it's a free kick after yet another turnover for the Redskins. 3 in 3 trips. It's been a brutal start. Deshaun Jackson with the return, brought down by Brandon Jenkins at the 34-yard line. John, there were 13 safeties in the entire season in the NFL last year, and we've had 4 here in week 1. And Mike Shanahan's team, 3 drives, mistake, mistake, mistake.
You know, the Redskins went 4-0 in the preseason, and they won 4 games with 3 different starting quarterbacks, and none of them was Robert Griffin. This is the first time these Redskin players have heard their Rookie of the Year quarterback in a live situation. And Alfred Morris, I'm sure, needs to cool it as well.
Meantime, the Eagles offense has run 23 plays in just over 10 minutes. And this is their 5th drive of the opening quarter. And LaShawn McCoy couldn't get out of the one tackle that would have given him space. Brian Orakpo comes back from the torn pectoral muscle that caused him to miss 14 games last year.
Oh, I like Orakpo. He can make all kind of plays. This time he slithers flat down the line and makes a beautiful fallback tackle. Great body control, highly conditioned leader of this Redskin defense.
In trouble. Tries to get away to Cooper, and the pass is incomplete. Again, Perry Riley. And now Jim Haslett's figuring out how to get pressure on Vick.
Well, this is what we saw all last year. I don't know how this protection system works, but Perry Riley's going to come right off the right side. I don't know if Michael Vick is supposed to throw it hot in the flat or not, but you must know what to do at the quarterback position when the blitz is on. That's twice now Riley has smashed Michael Vick.
3rd and 9, rushing 4. Vick on the run. And dives for the first down as D'Angelo Hall. And the Virginia Tech buddy knifes him in the back. First down, Philadelphia.
That is frustrating, Mike. You got 3rd and 10. And Michael Vick has nobody open, and he takes off and he dives for a first down. That is humiliating to the defense. Let's just hope Michael Vick can have an injury-free 2013.
Takes the run, throws complete. That's the first NFL catch in the regular season for Zach Ertz out of Stanford. Right of the mark, first down Philadelphia. They have 11 first downs. Washington has none.
I have no idea why E.J. Biggers is in this game as a safety. We thought it would be Reed Dowdy, but Biggers is getting a lot of playing time at a position that I haven't seen him play.
No gain from McCoy, and Redskin is injured in Patrick Golston. The 6th-round pick out of Georgia, grabbing at his right leg. Getting up and trying to hop off. Looks like he's acting like it's a cramp.
Well, last night we saw the Giants and the Cowboys, a lot of accusations that there were some injuries that weren't injuries. Let's take a look at Golston, the veteran defensive tackle out of Georgia. Let's see what happened to him here on the backside.
He slips and falls, and there was a reminder from the league office about injuries and faking injuries, and if you are found after the fact that it was an injury that you may have faked, that it'll certainly be dealt with, probably in a fine mode. But in a world of player safety and with bodies tangled, you can never assume that it's an injury live there on the field. So I don't know if there's a way around that. The priority's got to be the player and see if Golston comes back.
Well, there is 28 plays being run in the first quarter. We still have 3 minutes left. Arakpo is getting a blow here. It is exhausting when you have to play this many snaps this early in the season in one quarter. I've never seen it.
Back at it, 2nd and 10, and that's another part of the rule book. Darryl Tapp moved, and then Trent Williams reacted to his motion. But they're going to get Williams here. That's at least the initial indication.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Well, it's a delayed reaction by Jason Peters, and this rule drives me crazy. The offensive lineman has protection if the defender jumps in the neutral zone, but you can't have a delayed reaction or they'll call it on you. That's what happened.
Second and 15. And here is Vick, caught by Riley Cooper, going to be tackled shy of the 40-yard line. 3rd down coming up.
Look at these Philadelphia Eagle linemen on this quick pass. Cut down. Watch them cut block these Washington Redskins. Chip Kelly's famous for that. In his quick protection, you knock the defender's hands down. That time they sliced the legs of the Redskins to open up that throwing lane.
Not in field goal range. Washington shows pressure. 3rd and 7. Vick toss is broken up. Tried to get it to Cooper as Vick was getting pressured. David Amerson, the rookie out of North Carolina State, broke it up downfield.
Same thing. When you use that quick protection technique, you better get rid of the ball quickly. That time they cut block the defenders again, and you're going to see Arakpo at the bottom of the screen get up and hit Michael Vick right as he delivers the football. But you got to make sure that you get more of the man than that when you're cut blocking.
So good field position again. Philadelphia unable to advance it, and Donnie Jones' kick goes too far, so only a net of 20 yards. Just joining us here at the top of the hour, what a frenetic start to the Chip Kelly era in Washington. What a disappointing start for Mike Shanahan here in year 2 with Robert Griffin III as his quarterback. Eagles come all the way down the field, 10 plays, 76 yards, but a backward pass is ruled, and D'Angelo Hall makes a fumble recovery for a touchdown. And the Redskins go up 7-0, but then the Eagles keep the pedal down. They've run 30 plays to the Redskins 6, and the Redskins have turned it over in their first 3 possessions. The last one a safety. That's how we've arrived at 12-7 Eagles first quarter. Griffin gives to Morris. Morris is tied up. Trent Cole with a tremendous play.
It's the first zone read that we've seen tonight. And Washington has to be thrilled that they're only 5 points down. But that's the first time we've seen Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, dial up the read option from the pistol.
Kyle, son of Mike Shanahan, 3rd year as offensive coordinator. His work elsewhere was in Houston. Learning offense there with Gary Kubiak, who's with Coach Gruden in Tampa as one of the quality control coaches. Really a bright offensive mind. The hand to Morris, first time in space. First down of the season for the Redskins as Morris goes to the 34-yard line.
That's what Trent Williams, Pro Bowl left tackle, says. Run it behind me. He's an excellent reach blocker. He can run you right out of the stadium. Run the ball left, reach him and run him right off the screen. Nice job by Trent Williams. That's what Alfred Morris needs after fumbling the ball, dropping a pitch. A nice explosive run to get him going.
The 35, Morris cutting it back, and that ability to find cutback lanes is a big reason that he ran for 1,613 yards a year ago.
Zone stretch plays to the tight inside, to the split inside. Stretch your landmark, stretch it, cut it back, and nobody does it better than Mike Shanahan. And it seems like whoever he gets to play running back.
What's an average game? About 70 plays a team, something like that, right? If you get 70, you feel good?
So
it'd be 140 in a game, right?
I sure do.
We ran 40 there in the first quarter, 30 by the Eagles, 9 by the Redskins. after one. Eagles lead by 5 on Monday Night Football. Back for quarter number 2, wondering what the tempo would be like for Philadelphia. Now, Washington helped us with the safety and the other turnover that they had in the opening quarter. But it's the first time since Peyton Manning in 2009 against Houston that a team had a 30-plus play quarter. Philly ran 30 in the first quarter. Manning ran 31 that day with the Colts. Second quarter begins, and Robert Griffin III on the hand. Alfred Morris going to be stopped a yard shy of the first down with a flag down from the backfield. Isaac Sopoaga in on the tackle, former 49er.
Holding. Offense number 82. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
What happens a lot on these zone blocking plays is the tight end at the point of attack clearly visible to the referees, and they saw that one easily.
So the Redskins get pushed back to their own 31. And Griffin will swing it out to Garcon. Pierre gets to the 36-yard line. What a bonus it would be for this Washington offense to keep Garcon healthy all year. He tore a ligament in his foot week 1. It really lingered all year, John. And his 44 catches in 10 games, not as much as he could have done if healthy.
Very unselfish football player, Mike. Somewhat anonymous around the league because of those statistics, but a fierce competitor, very fast, and can run a lot of routes and function in any offense you want to run.
Griffin 2 for 4 passing in the early go. Boykin on the pressure comes up the middle, and the pass intended for Roy Halou Jr. The running back is incomplete, and Washington will punt.
Well, it's a bunch formation, and they try to get Halou on a little halfback option route. Looked like Griffin's feet were just kind of stuck there, Mike. And an inaccurate throw. Penalties, no rhythm, no balance yet tonight from Washington.
Eagles Saparaka on to punt. There's Johnson back, calls a fair catch. The kick was 48, no return. After 30 plays in the first quarter, we'll see what Chip Kelly's offense has. Michael Vick at the controls here in the second.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. New Jockey Sport underwear. Get real odor control, cooling and quick drying with Jockey Sport. And Verizon. Never be without football. Call Star NFL to download NFL Mobile from Verizon.
Beautiful weekend here in the D.C. area. A little cruise up the Potomac. As folks all over the area with great interest watching the division champion Redskins. After 4 last place finishes, won the NFC East last year. The Eagles finished last. Tom McCoy up the middle for a gain of 2 yards. You see Fletcher in there with the tackle along with Perry Riley. We've called a lot this first half.
Loading the formation into the boundary. Chip Kelly takes advantages of the hash marks. Rarely do you see 3 receivers loaded into the short side of the field.
McCoy again. We get to the 24-yard line. John, that has to be one of the adjustments college to pros. Those hash marks give you different spacing on the side. You have more space into the quote boundary here in the pros than you do in college. And
don't let it fool you. There are coaches in the NFL on defense that blitz from the boundary and blitz from the field just like they do in the NC2As. Key 3rd and 7. Arakpo up top and Kerrigan at the bottom of the screen.
Vick looking towards Deshaun Jackson. Got it. He got the first down in front of E.J. Biggers. Again, he's a corner by trade. He's playing safety here tonight. It's a first down for Vick and the Eagles.
Great throw by Michael Vick. Josh Wilson comes on a blitz. You have to be able to stand in there and throw strikes under fire. Great work by Michael Vick.
The run by McCoy. Game 3, Bakari Rambo with the tackle. John, we're seeing a lot of Rambo coming up, playing closer to the line, and Biggers coming back to play center field as a free safety.
And the more they run the ball, the more successful they run the ball, the more dangerous the play action passes become.
Firing it out up the sideline. Jackson scoots down, the hair shy of that first down marker according to the initial spot.
Look at these Eagle linemen. They stay between the hashes. They don't move around very much. They're not losing much energy. It's the receivers and the tight ends that do all of the moving around. This offensive line is in shape and very athletic.
They did give him a first down, so it's 1st and 10. As Vick again throws sideline. Jackson using the sideline effectively. Never went out of bounds and works it into Washington territory at the 49.
Michael Vick was going to fake that bubble screen and throw the ball deep down the field. Washington wasn't fooled, and Vick says, hey, I'll just throw it right out there in the flat for an easy gain.
Gain of 12. Chip Kelly is calling the plays. He's trying to get the personnel right, get LaShawn McCoy out of there as Bryce Brown is in at the running back. The read option is Brown running to the left. A good penetration by Chris Baker, the defensive lineman, who is also reaching for his calf. And Kendrick Golston, by the way, was reaching for his calf in that last drive. He's now trotting back on the field as Golston, or Baker, I should say his calf.
Take a look at Baker, number 92, playing defensive end. Hard to say what that is.
Well, he goes down as he's about to get up, much like Golston. Reaches for the calf, perhaps a cramp again. Well, there's Chris Baker. The indication from the trainers is reading their lips during the time that was a cramp. He walked off under his own power. Redskins said Golston had muscle cramps and will return, and he's back in. 2nd and 11, and Brown up the middle goes to the 45-yard line. John, you've been a believer that in the NFL, opposed to college, the game's going to slow down at some point. So maybe Kelly can't run the tempo he'd really like to.
Well, there's going to be clock stoppages, instant replay, timeouts, whatever it may be. And when the game slows down, you have to be prepared for pressure. That's when the defensive coach can organize his troops.
Left tackle Jason Peters out for the Eagles. Alan Barbre is in at the tackle for Philly. Kerrigan gets to Vick and brings him down for a big loss of about 14.
Ryan Kerrigan, we've seen him in the preseason. Now we're watching him in the regular season. He's unaccounted for, Mike. There is flaws in this Eagle protection system. It's the 3rd time either someone has made a mistake or Michael Vick has failed to realize where the hot receiver is.
There will be a punt. Johnny Jones gets it away. Good kick. Thompson taking it all the way back. 52 yards of kick. And he's brought down around the 10-yard line by Colt Anderson. Outstanding special teamer. Well, you know the knee construction with RG3. You've heard about it. It was quite complicated. Meniscus injury and a torn LCL as he comes back out on the field. Also have a penalty marker down. Back by the return man, so likely pushed in the back to push Washington back a few more.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 45, the return team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
So we told you about Griffin, the injury. The big one was the ACL. Our sports science team gives you a look at what happened. Surgery like RG3's typically begins when a graft with a plug of bone on each end is harvested from the patella tendon. So then a hole gets drilled from the tibia up through the femur, and the graft is threaded through the tunnel. Then we got to secure the deal with some screws, and after time in rehab, essentially the ligament is new. And then you have to go through the strengthening and all the other things that go with the getting back to playing condition. Cleared and ready to go. First action tonight. First movement that we've seen from him to Joshua Morgan, the receiver. It's complete for the first down. We heard a lot of back and forth. Dr. James Andrews, who many folks think of as Switzerland medically because everybody goes to see Dr. Andrews, but he's on the Redskins payroll as a senior orthopedic consultant. A lot of conversation as this landmark, legendary surgeon went in with this procedure for Griffin, who originally had an ACL injury back at Baylor. That's why it was a little more complex than other knee repairs. And it was Andrews, who everybody around the Redskins said had to clear him for practice and then for playing. And he is. And he's throwing. Downfield. Incomplete with a lot of contact, but no whistle on the pass intended for Garcon, who limps to the sideline. Garcon shaken up on the play.
It's a play-action pass off their zone read. That time Robert Griffin takes a hit right as he lets this ball go. And there's been a lot of people in Robert Griffin's ear, Mike, telling him don't run, don't cut it back, don't dive head first. I think Griffin has to trust his instincts and go play.
Contact very close. No call there. Garcon up on the sideline. Medical personnel not looking at him. Appears to be okay. As Morris runs, and the Eagles with good penetration. What Trent Cole was trying to show everybody here in the first half, he can make the transition from defensive end to a 3-4 linebacker.
Let me tell you, this is not easy to do. He gets off a block, he falls back to the inside, and Trent Cole looks like a natural playing the outside linebacker position. That's not easy to do after 8 years playing with your hand down. Cole's had a different defensive line coach every year, 4 coordinators in 5 years, and now he's on 2 feet playing pretty good.
Now 3rd and 10, a lot of pressure coming at Griffin. Picked up, he throws it, incomplete, not even close as Garcon came back in. And the Eagle defense gets Washington off the field.
Patrick Chung, the ex-New England Patriot and former Oregon Duck, on a safety blitz, is right up in Robert Griffin's face, and Griffin does not look like he's finishing on his front foot, Mike. Watch him right here, falling backwards as he throws this ball. I know there's unblocked Eagles coming at him, but he's got to round himself into form quickly.
Savraka kicked it somewhere where Deshaun Jackson could do nothing with it. So Griffin and the Redskins offense trying to figure out how to get something going. Their only score came from their defense. Teams wanted Chip Kelly. Cleveland, Buffalo, they interviewed him as well. This whole Chip Kelly thing at Oregon really changed a lot of the face of college football because they ran, as Chip's time at head coach, 09 to 12, as many plays as almost anyone in college football, and one every 21 and a half seconds. The numbers were gaudy. The scoreboard was ringing, and they had to take their foot off the gas a lot of times because they were beating people up bad. Almost 45 points a game, 500 yards. 325 20-yard or more plays, first in the major college football level during his time as head coach, 6 yards per run. Now, how can that translate to gaudy numbers in the NFL? Well, Chip admits getting those big chunk plays a lot harder here, and the drives are going to take a lot longer. McCoy bouncing outside. Vick gets in the way, and LaShawn gets to the 45-yard line. 7 first down yards.
All the statistics are great, but Philadelphia needs to capitalize with this great field position. They should knock Washington out. They have squandered numerous opportunities. You have to credit the Redskin defense for holding their own.
This is drive number 7 for the Eagles here in the first half. And Vick picks up a downfield block, and a flag does come down. And Evan Mathis says, I wasn't holding. But Ron Winter's word is all that counts.
Holding. Offense number 69. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
That's a famous Chip Kelly sweep, and Michael Vick is going to read the backside, but holding is going to be called on the left guard, Evan Mathis. Michael Vick is going to hand the ball to McCoy, read the backside, and you still worry about Michael Vick running to his left or running to his right with the football. He's taken a lot of hits here in the first half.
The flag makes it 2nd and 13. Collapsing pocket, Vick just throws it, gives McCoy space to run under it. And the gain is 4 as D'Angelo Hall and Perry Riley Jr. close quickly.
Nice job by Vick finding his check down receiver, but once again a 3rd down and long situation. Here comes the pass rush. Look at Michael Vick off the play action, surveying down the field. The clock goes off. He checks the ball down to McCoy. And here's Kerrigan, who has ruined the night so far for the Eagle offensive line. They have struggled to find him and block him.
Again, Brian Keel almost came in free that time, but Vick had enough time to get it to Jackson. That's going to be a flag on the sideline. D'Angelo Hall, and that should be a flag back on Jackson for pushing back. D'Angelo Hall staying down, trying to milk it. There will only be 1 flag for the late hit, and tack on 15 to the first down game by Jackson.
Well, fatigue and frustration have set in there with D'Angelo Hall. He knows better than that. Simple shallow cross route. Jackson gets the first down, and it's clearly late.
It's also a horse collar pulled down there, and he's way over the white.
After the runner was out of bounds, personal foul, number 23 defense. Horse collar pulling the runner to the ground. 15 yards, first down.
You know, also, John, and Jackson and Hall have gotten into it over time. Those are 2 players who get into it. They continue the jawing here. This is over by the Redskins sideline, and the line judge, Gary Arthur, got in between the 2 guys.
D'Angelo Hall. He's played with Michael Vick in Atlanta. He's played with RG3 here in Washington. And he hates the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Jackson feels the same way about Washington.
No matter what happens on the play, it'll be interesting at the bottom of the screen as McCoy runs to the left. He gets across the 30 and out of bounds, and they're pushing and shoving again. Plays nowhere near them, and their conversation continues. Now, John, they're trying to get away from offsetting penalties. As you watch this play here at the end, nothing going on near them, but they just kept going and going and going. And now Deshaun Jackson's going to come out of the game, and DeMars Johnson replaces him. Jackson sent over to timeout to cool down. Vick down the middle, caught by the tight end Selleck. Eagle touchdown.
The number 1 pass play in this Philadelphia Eagle offense. 20 flash bubble wide over, and nobody covers Selleck. Beautiful play action, ball faking by Vick. They have a bubble screen at the top of the screen, and you're going to see Selleck on an over route. Linebackers bite on the fake. The Redskins react to the bubble screen, and Michael Vick has his 2nd touchdown pass off of play action. Hard to defend.
Selleck only had 1 touchdown last year. Extra point added by Alex Henry. We've had many more opportunities in Philadelphia, able to knock one in as Michael Vick, 13 of 20, 190 yards, 2nd touchdown of the night. This one to Brent Selleck. This was after the touchdown. Chip Kelly right over there with the offensive lineman. He is calling the offensive plays as we detailed earlier, and so far he's called 44 plays. How's the balance of those 44?
22 runs and 22 passes. You can't draw it up much better than that.
And 19 points unanswered. It's Chris Thompson from 5 yards deep in the end zone. What a chase down. What a special teams play by Chris Polk, the 3rd-string running back. Redskin drive starts inside the 10. Redskins score came on a backward pass that was recovered and taken in by D'Angelo Hall. And then Philadelphia started hitting Deshaun Jackson, 25-yard score. Put him up 10-7. Safety with confusion from Griffin and Alfred Morris. 12-7 after one, and a moment ago, Vic to Selleck. The Eagle offense has been on the field for all 26 points. He gave Washington 7 and scored the next 19. Now how can the Washington offense find some rhythm? Sustain a drive. Start with the ground game, and Morris, about 5 yards. D'Amico Ryans with the first hit. John, tell me as we look at the numbers what you've thought of each quarterback so far.
Oh, I like what Michael Vick has done. He's made some great decisions in a high-octane offense, running and passing, and so far Robert Griffin has been a shell of himself. He looks rusty, he looks tentative, all the things we feared. Let's hope he can come together here quickly, because Washington hasn't proved to be a come-from-behind football team.
I'll get you up to speed. Those of you who watched Rafael Nadal win the U.S. Open. Here on the opening Monday night, we've got another game after this with Houston and San Diego. Griffin, look out! Harry Williams off the corner with the pressure. And the former Raven sacks Griffin.
Used to tell our wide receivers to say, watch the cat, watch the cat. That stood for corner blitz. Here it comes on a short corner blitz, and nobody made the call. And Kerry Williams, who wanted to bring some nastiness to this Philadelphia Eagle defense as an ex-Baltimore Raven, he just made Ray Lewis, our new ESPN colleague, proud there, Mike.
Kerry Williams, along with Ray Lewis, from the starting group for the Super Bowl champions. It was a loss of 6. And with the play clock running down, it's 3rd and 11. Griffin pressured by Barwin as the run out of the pocket goes down at the 10-yard line. Trent Cole there with the tackle. 3 and out Washington.
Well, that's the first time we've seen Griffin really accelerate on that knee. And Connor Barwin, known as a high-effort player in the NFL, chases Griffin down from the backside. You got to love that effort.
By Rocca trying to keep it out of the hands of Deshaun Jackson, but it gives up field position. The kick's only going to be about 32 or 3 yards. It's out of bounds in Washington territory. Officially 34. Eagle ball at the Washington 44.
Can't find the ball. You got to defend a bubble screen with 3 defenders at the top. Is he handing the ball to LaShawn McCoy? The linebackers think so. Nobody covers Brent Selleck on a little pop pass. Unbelievable execution. Is he throwing a bubble pass? You better defend it. This time, the linebackers don't scrape as hard to McCoy, and he hands it. Same play, different decision by Michael Vick. Hard offense to stop. I don't care what the tempo is. Look at this. Throw it here, throw it there, or run a read option.
They got the numbers game up at the top. The Redskins are a little confused defensively. Now adjusting to it. They're going to run it with McCoy, and a beautiful cut by Shady McCoy. A gain of 8. London Fletcher couldn't make the tackle.
It's a 3-way go, 4-way option for Michael Vick. He can hand it to McCoy. He can run it himself. He has built-in bubble screens, and here they come again.
Again, the tempo. 15 seconds after the last play. Here's the next one. Vick fires sideline out of bounds. Jackson and Hall going at it again.
What a throw by Michael Vick. Barry Cofield on the hit late. And Cofield is playing with a broken hand. I don't know how you play football with a cast on your right hand like Cofield is playing with tonight. Going to be a hard injury to overcome.
Can't grab anybody and go get him. It's McCoy sweeping to the left for the first down. And McCoy into the secondary again. Kerrigan chases him down to 25. That's a first down pickup of 11.
So McCoy said, let me see some more of those LaMichael James cut-ups from Oregon. Let me see that sweep play. That time he knifes off the left side. He cuts it back. And in the open field, he makes Bakari Rambo look bad.
McCoy has a 100-yard game. Deshaun Jackson has a 100-yard game. McCoy adds to it with 10 more for a first down.
How about that formation? They have Lane Johnson, an offensive tackle, split wide to the right. There's an offensive tackle here. There's Jason Peters over there. Look at this play. It's a lead draw to LaShawn McCoy. When was the last time you saw that in this league, Mike?
Not in this league. I've seen it on Saturdays. McCoy, he needs a break. 18 carries, 112 yards in the first half. Giving him the break is Bryce Brown. Bouncing off a tackle to the 8-yard line.
If this young man learns how to protect the football, he can be a big-time NFL back. That time, he unloaded on Washington Redskins. That's how you finish a run if you're a young back.
Eagles said that they were conditioned and they'd be able to handle the tempo for a full game. Brown again. What a hit coming through is Bakari Rambo, that rookie out of Georgia. We have called Rambo and Riley a lot as we get towards the 2-minute warning.
That's where you need perimeter blocking. If these balls bounce to the outside, Deshaun Jackson is going to have to be a better blocker than he's ever been to play in this spread offense to really ignite the running game the way it can go.
The Eagles have run 50 plays in the first half, and they're knocking on the door of another score at the 2. 19-7. Eagles on top, and they come out of the 2-minute warning with a 3rd down. Get a first down at the 4, and a couple more will give them a score. Vick giving to McCoy, back in after the rest, put his shoulders down and got the first down.
What an outstanding back LaShawn McCoy is. Got enough rest from Bryce Brown to get rejuvenated and make that first down all on his own. 19 carries, 115 yards. Wow.
That's the 20th first down for Philadelphia. 20. Washington has 2. McCoy again to the left. This time Arakpo gets there. John, this spread offense has a lot. What about on the goal line? Do they stay spread or can they line up in a traditional goal line offense?
Chip Kelly is relentlessly committed to the spread offense. At his own 1, at your 1, expect shotgun, no huddle spread. That's what you're seeing.
2nd and goal. We reach a minute. Is Vick keeping? Vick to the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Vick.
Only concern I have is how much do you want Michael Vick to run the football? You hand the ball to McCoy, you slam it in there with Bryce Brown, and now you fake it to LaShawn McCoy, and Michael Vick explodes across the goal line, and he's going to take a hit on his left shoulder. Looks like they got him on the right side there, but what an outstanding drive by this Philadelphia Eagle offense. This is stunning, Mike.
I agree. Yesterday, just for perspective, the Patriots ran the most plays in the league with 89. The Eagles have run 53 in the first half. They have 26 points to show for it and lead 26-7. The last time a team has run this many plays in the first half of an NFL game, the Vikings in 1998 ran 56. So it gives you an idea of what this spread offense can do. This big picture, the traits that are making this eye-popping number so far on the board.
Not the number of plays, it's the kind of plays they're running. But when you play against Chip Kelly, you're going to see multiple formations that you can't possibly prepare for because you haven't seen them. And you're going to see multiple plays. You'll see Vick under the center executing play-action passes. Yeah. You'll see the tackles removed out by the numbers. You will see it all. You'll see multiple options for a great quarterback like Michael Vick. He can hand it to a great back like McCoy. He can keep it himself. He can throw it to Deshaun Jackson. And it forces the defense into disarray, and they have to make one-on-one tackles. I don't know how you prepare for this kind of offense in pro football. I pity the San Diego Chargers. They get a short week.
Yeah, they're playing next. I hope they're not watching this before they go out. It's a long week coming up. Chris Thompson on the kickoff. Boykin right there and brings him down at the 13-yard line. Honestly, we talked a lot about this offense. I mean, for 3 months once we got the schedule. And you know Chip Kelly very well. Are you surprised that it's working so well here in the first half of this game?
I'm surprised. I'm also really excited for him because he has been wrestling with whether or not he should come to the NFL or stay in college. 46-7 he went at Oregon. He wanted to see if he could compete with the best defensive minds in all of football. So far, he's given the whole world of football something to think about. This is an invasion from college football, Mike.
See if the Redskins can do anything on offense from the 13-yard line. It's Griffin with a four-man rush. RG3's pass caught by Santana Moss and out of bounds. Coming close to the 28-yard line. Coming up, it is the Toyota halftime with Susie Colbert. Let's check the flag here first. It was down by Griffin. Back by the quarterback.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. Defense number 72. Penalties decline. Result of the play. It's a first down.
And out of bounds with 46 seconds left. As mentioned, the Toyota halftime. Susie Colbert in the studio. Preview of that second game, the Texans and the Chargers. Sunday soundtracks, listening to some of the stuff that happened during week one. Peyton Manning, central in that. And the latest on Tony Romo, who took that big shot, but came back in the second half and led the Cowboys to the win over the turnover-bitten Giants. The penalty markers down. That will stop the play with a false start.
Yeah, this is not good for the Washington Redskins.
Illegal snap. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Illegal motion. I don't know what illegal snap means. We've seen bad exchanges, fumbles. Coach Shanahan probably can't wait to get to the locker room.
It's a little double clutch.
A double clutch.
Center's like ready. Okay, now snap it. And got the defense moving early. Let's be honest, the ability of Philadelphia to run so many plays is because Washington hasn't sustained offense. They've turned it over, so they've contributed to giving the Eagles their best chance to get on a good run. Santana Moss the catch, a couple yards shy of the first down, 45 seconds left. Washington a full complement of timeouts, and they'll use one of them here.
That's a nice throw by Robert Griffin. Graham coming off his backside. He stepped up to a strike to Santana Moss. He needs success. Griffin needs a little bit of success right here before the half. Try to get his confidence and his rhythm back.
That was one of the questions you had, we all had, having not played a preseason game. How quickly do you come back? What he did last year was eye-popping. And he's such a threat outside the pocket. Other than a play or two, he has been confined straight line behind the center.
Well, Mike Shanahan didn't show that offense before that first game last year. Bill Davis and his defensive staff have studied Griffin in this offense for the entire offseason, and Bill Davis has an entire army of coaches that come from the college ranks. If anybody knows how to stop the read option of the Redskins, it should be Philadelphia.
Goes the new defensive coordinator here. So a lot of pressure on Griffin. Hendricks gets to him, and Griffin throws it towards the sideline. And it's incomplete as Griffin is slow to get up. And the flag comes down late. It's probably for grounding because I think he's in the tackle box.
Offense, number 10.
But the bigger issue is looking at Griffin here and seeing the kind of hit he takes. This gets thrown back.
Delayed blitz by Kendricks, and
there's a 10-second runoff associated with the penalty.
Intentional grounding the last couple of minutes. So that adds to the 10-second runoff that gets taken. You see Griffin get thrown down. Remember last year he played through pain. Some people were wondering if he should come out of the game, and there was a big honesty conversation with Mike Shanahan and Robert Griffin. Shanahan said, hey, you got to tell me when you're hurt. Guys play through pain all the time. You got to tell me if you're injured and can't go. There's got to be true honesty with us both ways here now.
There's a big difference between being injured and being hurt.
Now you can save the timeout or use a timeout and save the 10-second runoff here. And that's what Mike Shanahan and the official are discussing.
Washington has elected the 10-second runoff instead of a timeout.
Because it's intentional grounding there in the last 2 minutes, that ball never reached the line of scrimmage. He was in the tackle box. That's why it was the grounding flag. You can use a timeout and save the 10-second runoff. They don't. So we'll get the 10-second runoff, and it will be 3rd down for Washington.
And with 32 seconds left, I'd be very careful here. I'd be somewhat conservative, Mike. I'd like to be in that Redskin locker room at halftime. This whole stadium is in shock.
Yeah, what was, John, when they ran out here about an hour and 45 minutes ago, a din of roars and cheers is now just a whole lot of murmuring. 10-second runoff takes it down to 22 seconds, and then the clock starts as it was whistled ready, and another false start. Let's see if the defense is involved in that one. If the false start with a running clock, that's a 10-second runoff as well.
Number 85.
That should be a 10-second runoff because the clock was running here inside the last 2, and Shanahan could take the timeout again to avoid that.
Mike Shanahan is 15-4 in opening games as a head coach. That's almost the best I've ever seen. That's remarkable right there. But tonight,
10-second runoff. Instead of
everything has gone wrong.
Set the game clock to 1 second.
Washington's trying to get out of here, so they've taken both 10-second runoffs. This is the first half white flag, and now the clock's going to, at the ready for play, get started, so the half will end. So the half is over.
So far, the NFC Eastern champions have had their eyes opened by the new regime in the Philadelphia Eagle uniforms, to put it mildly.
In regulation, the record for most plays run in a game is 95. 4 teams have done it. Philly ran 53 in the first half. Second half coming. Here's Susie Culber with the Toyota halftime. Look out, mistake in the end zone. They're going to pick it up and run with it. Touchdown, Redskins. Fires end zone. Touchdown. What an interesting half we had here. Landover, Maryland, due east of Washington, D.C., about a dozen miles from the White House. 26-7. Eagles on top. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters down on the sideline. There's a lot of people who are really surprised at how the Eagles offense has worked, but we do have to say it's one half, and Washington has really aided and abetted in Philadelphia's opportunity to run all these plays.
Yeah, it's a combination of the two things, but the tempo has been outstanding. The communication, the conditioning, and the execution of this Eagle offense for a first time out, Chip Kelly has to be thrilled, and the score should be a lot worse than 26-7.
And let's remember that Washington offense not responsible for the 7. It came on the opening drive as the Eagles threw a backward pass. Chris Thompson's going to take it knee. We'll take it down to the sidelines. Lisa Salters.
Hey, Mike, well, I asked Mike Shanahan just how much trouble the Eagles' tempo gave the Redskins. He said it's not offensively that we had the problems, it was defensively. He said the defense actually made some plays, but we can't keep them out on the field the entire game. Eventually, they got tired, and we only had 3 first downs in that first half. He said we cannot do that against this team. I asked Chip Kelly, 53 plays in the first half. What does that even mean? He said, Lisa, we should have scored more points. Mike?
Thanks, Lisa. 30 plays in the opening quarter, 23 in the second. Meantime, this Washington team, only 75 first half yards, and Griffin to work, and there's one of his better looking passes and plays, 9 yards to Pierre Garçon. What happened to Robert Griffin III 8 months from the day when he had the knee surgery? He's come back. Well, he throw into really triple coverage. Boykin comes underneath and makes the pick. We've watched him very closely, bodies around him, legs around him, not stepping into passes. Miscommunication on offense, false starts, and overall 21 plays and 75 first half yards. No points for the offense. Alfred Morris fumbled once, dropped one in the end zone. As a penalty marker comes down, he's down. Also 7 penalties in the first half.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
It's been every series, Mike. It's been a penalty, a false start, a bad snap.
It's led to bad numbers here on the first half stats. There are the 21 plays. The Eagles have as many first downs as the Redskins do plays. Haven't sustained anything 0 for 4 on third downs and hit the ball less than 10 minutes. Here's an interesting one. 35 plays to none run. And you saw the 53 plays at first half mark. For Philly, Griffin throws a half step behind the moving Joshua Morgan. Now it's 3rd and 11.
These are plays that Griffin rang up with ease last year. They fake the stretch, little back block, come out of the fake, and a wide open receiver, and they just aren't able to make any plays. Come out of the fake, throw the ball to a wide open receiver. Morgan's got to make that catch. Somebody needs to make a play for this Redskin offense.
Send Garcon and Santana Moss up to the top of the screen. Leonard Hankerson, 85, is at the bottom. Eagles bring 5. It's picked up, and Griffin's pass is intercepted. Diving catch by Kerry Williams. Went to the ground, maintained possession, and it's another Redskin turnover, their 3rd of the night.
Nothing on that throw at all. Griffin tries to throw an outside breaking route to the wide side of the field, and Kerry Williams lays out and makes a great interception. Had 4 last year for the Ravens. That might be the best play I've seen Kerry Williams make ever.
Williams has his arm under it, and since it's a turnover, it will be automatically reviewed upstairs as he went to the ground and maintained possession.
Second interception, as you say, Mike, and that ball had nothing on it.
That's a good point, John.
Blitz was on. When you throw an outside breaking route, especially to the wide side of the field, you got to step through the throw, and you have to throw the ball with perfect location. That ball died on Griffin, and Kerry Williams made a great play.
You see the turnover numbers. So few last year, 3 already. And Vick gets away from a would-be sack by Arakpo. Heading for the sideline, going to be a 4-yard loss. And they go down like bowling pins on that Washington sideline. Bakari Rambo took out a whole bunch of folks, including Jim Howie, the head linesman.
Michael needs to throw that ball away and preserve field position. This is the 4th drive that Philadelphia has had to begin inside the Redskin 50. Throw the ball away, avoid the sack, don't take a hit.
You got Mike Shanahan, too. I didn't see Coach Shanahan was also among those who got knocked down. Everybody seems to be okay. Loss of 4. Off the great first half, LaShawn McCoy. What a move by McCoy. Look at McCoy. What a run. Eagle touchdown. Oh.
That'll be on one of the top plays of the week shows. E.J. Biggers is asking himself, how did that happen? 2nd and 14, they run a zone read. Watch Biggers on the left side of your screen. Wow.
Looks like the LaShawn McCoy, John, we saw in 2011. All-Pro, the franchise record, 20 touchdowns, 17 of them on the ground. Limited to 840 yards of that offensive line struggle last year. 34-yard run. McCoy, 149 yards. And his first touchdown of the year. Nothing you can say. Wow. 2010 for a night that Michael Vick rang it up. 4 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs. It was a breathtaking offensive show that night in a very different mode. A lot of the same players, Vick, McCoy, and Jackson, are doing it again to the Redskins in FedEx Field on a Monday night. 33-7. There's real chance for Thompson to return one here in the second half, and he will only get to the 22-yard line.
How about this formation? It's an unbalanced line. There's Lane Johnson. There's Jason Peters. And Selleck is the tackle playing tight end on the backside. It's a blitz off the left side of the screen. Both safeties have a poor run fit. Rambo and Biggers look bad in the open field. But it's the formations of Chip Kelly. Unbalanced line. No back sets. 3 back sets. And LaShawn McCoy is a great back in any style of offense.
That's what you said. Talk about the players who are in this offense and can they stay healthy, being exposed to the hits that they might be taking and running all these plays. Alfred Morris with a run up the middle for this stunned Redskins team and crowd. London Fletcher talked about, he's known this was coming, that it was going to be a huge ask for this defense to try to solve a riddle they didn't know. And Philadelphia's tempo and execution has been great. And Washington's tempo and execution has been awful. Second and 4 after the Morris gain of a half dozen. Griffin getting out of the pocket and taking off and running. Gets out of bounds as Kendrick sends him there at the 35-yard line. John, it'll be interesting to watch now as RG3 tries to work his way into the season. What is he going to look like, and where is his offense going to go?
That was a big question coming in here. Are they going to continue to rely on the pistol formation, the designed read option plays, and the read option play action plays that were so successful? Or are we going to see the development of Robert Griffin as a drop back passer, because they certainly need to throw the ball now if they want to get back in this thing?
The 35 off the read option. Here's a throw, and it is incomplete. Fred Davis breaking open, and perhaps the no preseason games and the limited work in training camp has led to the lack of sharpness from Griffin here tonight.
Second wide open receiver now that the Redskins have failed to hook up on. This time the ball sails on Griffin. Wide open. Fred Davis on a deep cross pattern. They missed Josh Morgan on the last series. Morgan dropped the ball. Nobody's made a play tonight for Washington. Unbelievable.
See those 9 incompletions. Multiple balls have sailed on Griffin. 6 of 15. Griffin trying to get away from Connor Barwin and finds the outlet complete. Ooh. Head over heels somersault by Jordan Reed. The rookie from Florida makes his first NFL catch, and it's for a first down.
Nice scramble by Robert Griffin, and Michael Kendrick, second-year linebacker out of Cal, clearly is spying on Robert Griffin. Nice work.
Weird drive where Washington's been able to put back-to-back first downs together. And good penetration here, strings Morris out, and Kendricks with the shot to limit it to just a gain of a yard.
I like what Michael Kendricks is doing tonight. They string that stretch play out. It allows Kendricks time to shuffle across the formation and make a nice strike tackle. Take a look at Kendricks on the backside. It's going to be a stretch play off the left side. Beats Montgomery over the top. There he is for a nice form tackle. He's been all over the field tonight.
Kendricks, who was the second-round pick last year out of Cal, walked in immediate starter with his speed. And back in a 3-4 defense. That's caught by Garcon. You got to come down and get it, and he's going to be a yard and a half shy of the first down with third down coming up.
One of the things Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan like to do. Put 2 receivers in a stack alignment. One goes inside, one goes outside. That time Philadelphia blew the coverage. Sets up a short yardage situation. Keep an eye on Jordan Reed, the tight end. They look for him in these situations.
3rd and 1. They will run for it. Halou spinning, and Roy Halou Jr. gets the first down. So a drive building here from the Redskins on their second shot at it in the second half.
That trademark stretch play. A lot of success with that concept over the years. But you must credit Philadelphia for keeping it awful quiet tonight.
First time Redskins offense has been in Eagle territory tonight. Griffin turns and flicks it. It's low, but it is brought in by Reed. And the third-round pick out of Florida, who actually started at quarterback during his Florida career. And John then moved to tight end and played a bunch of games there.
Well, Bill Davis, the defensive coordinator, is bringing inside pressure a lot. That time, Lichtensteiger got run over by a linebacker blitz, and it forced Griffin to abort the play.
Saw Griffin grab towards that leg as he went down. Heading to Morris on the outside to the 25-yard line. And it's remarkable that Griffin's come back after 8 months, and certainly if you look at him with the knee brace on his gait, there's going to be a time to get comfortable here. And this is the first time he's been hit since going back to the Seattle game on this field back in January.
It's going to be a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight. If he can put a couple good drives together here and build his confidence, find his rhythm, that'll be a real positive as the Redskins move forward.
And certainly not when he goes back driving off the right leg and throwing. And cautious with it. And getting out of the pocket. And on the run, a throw. Back for Reed again. It's incomplete.
A lot of these read option fakes don't work when you're down 33-7. But take a look at Griffin on the move. You can see for yourself. Looks like he's got plenty of mobility. But I'd like to see Griffin stay in a pocket, use all 5 of his eligibles, because Philadelphia is not buying on these play action passes.
Ran into Pierre Garçon on the sideline. Joshua Morgan, one of the 3 receivers on 2nd and 10. And Santana Moss into the red zone for the first time tonight for Washington inside the 15. With that veteran 34-year-old Santana Moss just keeps on going.
Excellent player, and he's almost exclusively a slot receiver now. That time, another bunch formation. Griffin did a nice job going through his progression, and Santana was wide open.
Play 12 of the drive. Trent Williams couldn't get the block, and Alfred Morris is going to lose some yardage. Cedric Thornton will be credited with the tackle, but Brandon Graham, player out of Michigan who has struggled, injuries, and then playing in Philadelphia, did a good job with the penetration.
That time Philadelphia brought an all-out blitz. Hard to run the ball against some of these all-out blitzes.
Ross makes it a bunch. 3 receivers on the right. Griffin is sacked. Blitz was coming from D'Amico Ryans.
I give Bill Davis and this Eagle defensive staff a lot of credit as well. They've been overshadowed by Chip Kelly in their offense, but spontaneous blitzes, all-out blitzes. D'Amico Ryans, number 59, is going to come after Robert Griffin on a delayed blitz. Nobody accounted for him. When that back blocks, the linebacker covering the back has the green light to blitz. That's a textbook green dog, Mike.
Green dog.
I like that one.
Come back to the same formation on 3rd and 19. And Griffin underneath with Moss. But behind him, it'll be 4th down, and at 33-7, they're going to try to get some points out of the drive and send Kai Forbath on.
Very chaotic pass offense tonight. Balls are thrown high, balls are thrown behind receivers. When they are accurate, they're not caught. And the protection hasn't been great when Philadelphia has blitzed. Let's see if Forbath can get something out of it.
Good story last year. Joined the Redskins week 6, made his first 17 field goals. And solidified this position from 40 yards. No good. And it's one of those nights. First time the Washington offense looked any good. Sustained 14 plays and nothing to show for it.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a 2014 GMC vehicle at gmc.com/NFL. Navy Federal Credit Union. Visit us at NavyFederal.org. And NFL Mobile. Download today and never be without football. Call ** NFL.
17th year that FedEx Field here in Landover, Maryland is the Redskins' home, and tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. Shocking score. 33-7 Philadelphia. LaShawn McCoy is having some kind of night, adding to his 149 yards here as Perry Riley tackles him after a gain of 4.
This offensive line for the Eagles, said it earlier, dramatically better with the return of Jason Peters, their Pro Bowl left tackle, Lane Johnson at right tackle. They've taken this game over.
Right back with McCoy spinning out. Hit the turbo button, spins back and gets a first down. Only on a video game can you make moves like this guy does.
Don't even block anybody on the backside. Make Arakpo miss, spin out of there, make Rambo miss, and gain 9 yards and don't block his soul.
Wow. McCoy closing in on the best rushing night of his career. Career highs 185 in a game. This is second most. Bryce Brown comes in, and E.J. Biggers, the defensive back, comes up to make the play. Redskins without Brandon Merriweather, who is supposed to be their starting safety. Only played 40 snaps last year because of his multiple injuries. Other than that, the Redskins defense is whole, and they can't get a hold of that guy.
This is where, even though you're in a no-huddle offense, you would like to use that play clock. The clock is your only enemy. Milk that thing.
And a false start whistle. Working on McCoy.
False start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Well, when you talk about the offense and it working, John, your first point was, if it can work, there are great people to try to put it in place, and they're all having really good nights.
Michael Vick, comeback player of the year in 2010. Shady McCoy, Pro Bowler. I've seen Deshaun Jackson in the Pro Bowl. Not to mention this offensive line. You can call a lot of stuff with players like that, Mike.
You can see the runs with Bryce Brown are not nearly as effective as McCoy in space. And there are many questions. And again, we caution, this has been really entertaining to watch. Can you sustain? Can you sustain within a game? Can you sustain within a season? They always pride themselves, Chip Kelly's Oregon teams at least, on their conditioning. This is 3rd and 20, and Vick pulls out of there. Flag down as Arakpo was held trying to rush him. Michael throws it downfield. It's out of bounds. No interception by David Amerson.
That's Selleck on a hold, I believe. And a personal foul for arguing.
Oh, he just threw the hat. The official, as Selleck was arguing, threw his hat. He was out of flags, so he had thrown the flag for the holding penalty. So this may be multiple fouls here on the Eagles' tight end.
Holding. Offense number 87. That penalty's declined. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 87. Penalized 15 yards. Makes it 4th down.
You just get the 1. That's the only option you have there. So it'll be 3rd massive yardage again, or 4th and massive yardage, and Philadelphia will punt it away.
See if Washington comes after the punter here in a backed up situation. They need an impact play from someplace.
They declined the penalty to get it to 4th down. They could have taken both because that second flag was for an act of unsportsmanlike conduct against an official. In any case, there's another penalty marker down as the return by Chris Thompson is taken out to the 34-yard line. And we've slowed down here with 3:49 to go. John, Chip Kelly just in general he's the type of guy who wants to take a look at everything and say, well, you did it this way. Maybe it works. Should we change it? Should we look at it? And he's done that with so many different aspects of this Eagles team. So it's not just the offense, but it's everything Philadelphia is about right now.
Illegal formation. Offense. Washington has elected the 5-yard penalty at the previous spot. Repeat 4th down.
It's not only that.
We're going to re-kick, and Bryce Boykin, the Eagles' nickel defensive back, is down, John, back here as he was trying to cover the punt. So while they look at Boykin, they're going to take time out with 3:49 left. Getting set for game 2 of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. The Texans and the Chargers will be the last to play their first games of the season. Coming up next from San Diego. Penalty accepted, a re-kick of the punt by Donnie Jones. And this time Santana Moss, the veteran, goes back. Been a while since Moss's return kicks. And a beautiful open field tackle by Jordan Poyer. The defensive back brings Moss down. Redskins will start their own 34 on a night Michael Vick, the Eagle offense, has been shining. $26-point deficit, and the only 7 points were scored by the Redskins defense on an Eagles opening drive turnover. So this Washington offense, which had its best drive just a few moments ago, picks up this one from their own 34. And Griffin throws to Leonard Hankerson up the sideline for a gain of 10. So it'll be a 1st down. John, we've watched, of course, when he come back from the major knee surgery he had 8 months ago. A lot of questions. You want to see what he looks like. And to this point, we've seen a player who looks like he's trying to come back from.
I want to see the Redskins getting a 2-minute offense. I mean, there's 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Let's up the tempo and get some completions. Try something to get back in this game.
Fred Davis, tight end, 1st down, gain of a dozen. John, the mechanics have not been what you would expect to see from a starting quarterback.
Watch his left foot. He's falling away from his throws. He's not finishing his throws. He's up on his toes. I realize there's some rush around him, but he hasn't been around a live rush, Mike. He's not finishing throws. He's not finishing on his front foot. And he's a little bit tentative playing the position. It's the first time he's seen live bullets in a pass rush, and Philadelphia's bringing it.
Roy Halou Jr. is the back. And he takes the delays, open space. Nice run by Halou. Flag down at the back end of the play as Michael Kendricks makes the tackle.
Just coming back for holding. Well-designed draw play. Offensive penalties.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding. Offense number 63. Personal foul. Face mask. Defense. Those penalties offset. Replay. 1st down.
Come back to 1st and 10 at the Eagles 43. That's the other part that has nothing to do with Griffin coming back, are the penalties that the Redskins have here tonight offensively.
Penalties, drop passes, fumbles.
So erase the gain from Halou. And it's 1st and 10. Griffin's pass right back to Fred Davis. Back-to-back catches for the tight end. Ruptured his Achilles week 7. The last couple of years, whether it was an injury or a suspension for 4 games, or violating the league policy for substances, it's kept him from getting a big contract that he thought he would have a chance to earn.
Another bunch formation. They clear out the deep zone. Fred sits it down. You know, Robert Griffin, Fred Davis, Brian Orakpo, 3 critical Washington Redskins coming off serious injuries. That explains a little bit as to what happened tonight.
Pressure picked up. Griffin's pass for Santana Moss is again overthrown and incomplete.
He's got to make these throws. Good pickup by the Redskin offensive line. Santana's wide open. It's a poor throw. Robert Griffin in the shotgun has not been effective throwing the football for 3 quarters.
Second and 10, another blitz, and underneath it's caught by Jordan Reed. And he'll have the first down at the 22-yard line. Reed's looked good here in the second half.
Philadelphia continuing to blitz. That time Robert Griffin sees his primary the whole way. Throws a strike underneath the Reed, who they're excited about. Watching him practice Saturday in the red zone. They targeted Reed a lot. Good-looking young receiving prospect.
A good group of tight ends here at Washington. That time Griffin had to put it up with the blitz and couldn't keep it in the playing field for Santana Moss. Michael Kendricks again. It was Garcon, should be the intended receiver, but Kendricks came with the pressure.
Right up the middle. He's unaccounted for. It's going to be an all-out blitz. Hard to play quarterback when you're flat on your back. Must credit Bill Davis. I've said it several times. He's brought numerous up-the-gut inside pressures, and Kendricks has been the man tonight.
And you see the 7 tackles as well for Kendricks. And that initial Washington offensive play, the Alfred Morris fumble, he recovered. Again, the pressure, try to beat it with a quick one. And Garcon, downfield block, and Pierre Garcon takes it to the 5. Got his right tackle. Tyler Columbus leading the way down the field.
Great call by Kyle Shanahan. You're being repeatedly blitzed. Throw a quick screen. Get it in Pierre Garcon's hand. Pick up a lead block. Tyler Columbus, the right tackle, out on the edge. Very popular blitz beater in pro football. The quick screen.
Gain of 17. Kyle Shanahan's offense is first and goal for the first time. Try to squeeze in a touchdown here before the end of the quarter. Terrell Young, the fullback, leading the way. Alfred Morris cuts it back, and a Redskin touchdown.
That's an excellent run by second-year man Alfred Morris. Told us yesterday he loves this zone stretch play. Even though he knows he can't get it outside, he presses it, cuts it back at the last second. Really sets his blocks up well. Good for Alfred Morris. Impressive young man. We really enjoyed our time with him, Mike.
Yep, second year out of Florida Atlantic. Burst on the scene as a 6th-round pick last year. And Adrian Peterson, as mentioned, had more yards. The guy has his 1991 Mazda 626. Didn't want to give up his original car, although it's been refurbished. Let's remember his roots and where he came from as he's hit it big in the league. Nearly 42 minutes between Redskins scores. They got one in the early portion of the first quarter. And here in the final seconds of the third, an Alfred Morris 5-yard run. That's the first touchdown for the Washington offense. And Griffin was 5 of 7 on that drive. The 33-14. Ty Forbat's kick is coming out with Damaris Johnson. Stops just shy of 22 seconds remain. Well, game 2 of the Monday night doubleheader. It's Phillip Rivers who has answered the bell game after game. Been starting every game since 2006, but the records would go in the other way. 9-7, then 8-8, 7-9. New head coach Mike McCoy, and they make their debut against the Texans. Coming up next here on ESPN. Wrap up kickoff weekend and getting back to football. Started Thursday night with that show by Peyton Manning. 7 touchdowns, and it's been the Philadelphia offense grabbing the headlines here on Monday night. Run by McCoy takes us to the end of 3. The lead is 19 for Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. Fourth quarter, Philadelphia leading Washington 33-14. John LaShawn McCoy. A couple of guys look silly tonight.
Used to keep the stat yards after missed tackles. And if you watch McCoy carefully, it's been all him. There is 27 yards after missed tackles. There he misses a tackle. There's another one. I mean, this is 12 yards after a missed tackle. There's one. Here he goes around the edge. Defensive coaches can put you in position to make tackles, but when you play against a spread offense and a back like LaShawn McCoy, you have to be able to make these open field one-on-one tackles, or you will give up a lot of yards.
Philadelphia ran 53 plays in the first half, just 8 in the third quarter, and on cue, McCoy misses yet another tackle, turns a loss into a gain.
Well, you got to be kidding me. Forget the slow motion looks. Watch this run. There's nothing there.
Vic went in there to clean up the backside for him to cut back. So he picks up the first down. If the Washington defense can come up with a big play, they're not out of this game yet. Down 19 here early in the fourth. There's a big hit made by Barry Cofield, playing with that broken hand.
Well, they run a blitz right into the play side, and that play had no chance at all. Cofield, 96, beats Kelsey on a backdoor stunt. Credit to him for playing with that right hand, heavily bandaged.
After the big loss, Vic to Jason Avant. And go low to make the catch. Lost the football. Picked up by the Redskins. Riley can still get up and run. And he does. Inside the 15-yard line.
New ball game.
Get a look here as Avant was fighting for yards. Anything close to down? Not even close. Big hit made by Josh Wilson to spit it out.
Blind pursuit. When you're in a vulnerable position as a runner or receiver, you must be aware of blind pursuit. Great effort to the football by Josh Wilson. Washington must capitalize right here.
Again, the small things of accuracy. A low throw means Avant couldn't get it, secure it, and take off. Slowed him down, and that blind pursuit gets it the opportunity to force the turnover. And now the fans come to life here at FedEx Field.
To be reviewed.
All right, going to review that. Was he down by contact or not? So they'll look for him. We'll check it out when we come back.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars and find the best deal on Autotrader.com. State Farm for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state. Corona, who invites you to find your beach. And ESPNShop.com, where you can get all of your official NFL sideline gear.
A couple of weeks ago, they commemorated the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington at the Lincoln Memorial. Many visitors there any day here just outside the nation's capital in Landover, Maryland. We are reviewing where the ball should be spotted, and was the return man, Perry Riley, on the fumble touchdown, and he was.
After review, the ball was fumbled, recovered by the defense, and during his advance, he was down by contact, touch of the right foot at the 29-yard line. Please reset the game clock for 13:46.
And John, here is down by contact. Jason Avant's right hand on the right cleat of Perry Riley Jr.
And we're giving Avant credit for a tackle there, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I never understood the rules, Mike.
Well, you talked about, John, rusty, but looked better the last 2 drives, and now the one mistake gives Washington an opportunity. Here down 19, still early in the fourth. And it's Griffin just getting it out quickly to Pierre Garçon, who looks for space. That's a pass very often, John, where the quarterback's not even looking for the laces. He just gets it and gets rid of it.
Big part of this Redskin offense, especially against these Philadelphia Eagle blitzes. Just catch and release, get the ball on the perimeter to a man that can run with it. Let's see if the Eagles continue to blitz or play a more cautious approach.
Second and 3, 5 come. They're picked up, and Griffin's pass to Garçon to the 10-yard line. First and goal, Washington.
Good blitz pickup. Another inside blitz. And Trent Williams does a nice job in one-on-one protection against Trent Cole, but it's another inside dog. Good pass protection by the Redskins. And I like Griffin with a good accurate strike. Stack release. Washington does an excellent job with numerous patterns that start off looking the same, and they're all different.
Ball touching the 10, so it's first and goal. A lot of pressure this time. Griffin got rid of it, incomplete, as Fletcher Cox was storming in at RG3. Two guys who were part of the class of 2012 first round.
Philadelphia is coming with everybody they have. Fletcher Cox, left side of your screen, unblocked on an all-out blitz. Bill Davis has a lot of Pittsburgh Steeler roots. He worked with Dick LeBeau. He worked with Dom Capers. Loves to apply blitz pressure inside the red zone, and don't be surprised if he bluffs a blitz here.
The four-man rush. It's Griffin. It is Leonard Hankerson. And the Redskins are back in it. And they should be going for 2 here to try to make it an 11-point game.
Excellent work by this Redskin offensive football team. Hanging in there. Getting a turnover from their defense. Picking up some blitzes and giving Robert Griffin the time to find his rhythm and find Leonard Hankerson on another bunch release. And these bunches and stack releases are hurting Philadelphia.
There's a 2-point conversion. The NFL average last year was 50%. 29 of 58 were converted. 1 by the Redskins. Right now, Washington is 1 person shy. You have personnel straightened out. They're in good shape because the play clock hasn't started yet. You have to pick which hash you want the ball on. Washington puts it on the right hash. For 2 to make it a 2-possession game. And watch 86, Jordan Reed down here. Griffin. Incomplete. As he tried to get it to Aldrick Robinson sliding underneath. The pressure came from D'Amico Ryans. Still got a ball game here with 12.5 to go. Defensive player of the year, 20.5 sacks, all those batted down passes. J.J. Watt and the division champions of the AFC South. Houston opens its season in San Diego. Chris Berman, Trent Dilfer coming up. Kick time has been slid back a few minutes, so 10:25 Eastern, 7:25 Pacific time will be the kickoff for that game. Should be a touchback for Johnson, and Philadelphia will take over at its own 20. Michael Vick and the Eagle offense, 53 plays, dynamic in the first half. They have stalled a bit here in the second half. And John, Robert Griffin III, who clearly looked rusty, is starting to get in rhythm through this third, now fourth quarter.
The young man just needs to keep playing, fight through the inactivity, dust off the rust, and hope his defense can get another stop. Let's see if this Philadelphia offense has enough gas in their tank to finish the game.
Washington got the first 7 on an Eagle turnover. Then the Eagles offense scored 33 in a row. Redskins fighting back. Michael Vick on the run. Dives down for a gain of about 6.5.
First time this Philadelphia Eagle offense has gone for 4 quarters. Keep an eye on LaShawn McCoy. 26 carries tonight. How much does he have left in his tank? And for the first time in a while, we've seen Philadelphia get into the huddle and try to milk this clock. Look for the Redskins to crowd the line of scrimmage and force Vick to throw the football.
Second and 3. Vic reads it, keeps it, gets the first down, and a lot more. The all-time leading rusher for quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, Michael Vick, takes it inside the Washington 40 for a first down.
That looked like a one-back power play, and Michael Vick read the backside. He's going to hand the ball off to McCoy and read the backside, and he keeps this football. One-on-one tackling, we said it earlier. If you can't make one-on-one tackles against this spread system, you're in real trouble, and Bakari Rambo has failed on numerous occasions tonight.
It's a gain of 36 for Vic, who had a slow walk back to that huddle. And the play clock running down on the Eagles for the first time. Vic clapping, that's the signal snapping now. They just beat the play clock, and McCoy dances and dashes for 2.
Talk about Michael Vick. He's the oldest Philadelphia Eagle player they have. Hard to believe. But he's rushed for over 5,500 yards coming in here tonight. And I could just tell by being around Robert Griffin, he could not wait to go up against Michael Vick, because Vick paved the way for a lot of these quarterbacks that are thriving today with the option. Nobody thought it was possible. Believe me, I didn't think it was possible until Vick shredded me in my Tampa Bay days.
Second and 8, and it'll be McCoy. London Fletcher, we said the oldest player in the defensive or offensive position in the league at age 38, made that tackle. John, you talked about that relationship with Vic and RG3. Vic said he's a big fan of Robert Griffin. He said, it reminds me of what I did when I broke into the league. They did have a chance to meet at the rookie symposium in 2012. And Griffin took us back and said, hey, I was 11, and when I played the college football video game, Michael Vick was my quarterback. And here they are head-to-head on the field tonight. Big play, 3rd and 5. And Vick slings one high and incomplete. And we'll see if they go for the right around 50-yard field goal, but there is a marker down. It's backed by Michael Vick, and it's a hold on the Eagles.
Interesting decision here for Mike Shanahan.
Holding. Offense number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Alex Henry made a 49-yarder last year. His career high is 51. He hit a 48 earlier. It would have been right around 50, so you want to push him out of field goal range and try to stop him here on 3rd and 15.
That's exactly what he's doing. I agree with him 100%. Now it's up to Philadelphia to try to get some kind of a completion or positive play and set themselves up for a field goal. Got to unleash the pass rush. Arakpo and Kerrigan. They need to play.
Five Redskins rushing. Vick throws. Incomplete. No flags. 4th down. As Vick continues to grab towards that groin area after that long 36-yard run on this drive.
You think Jason Peters is strong? I mean, he is an outstanding left tackle. He's lighter than he's been ever. 25 pounds lighter to help sustain his level of play in this no-huddle offense. But once again, this Redskin defense has survived a barrage of formations and plays, and there's a lot of time left.
Donnie Jones will try to pin the Redskins back inside the 10. Failed before. Brandon Boykin was over there guarding the pylon, but Jones really hit it well. It'll be out at the 6-yard line. 36 yards. It was all net. Now RG3 and company scored on back-to-back possessions. Down 13. Yeah, Mike Shanahan's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been around, so he knew that it wasn't going to be perfect right away with Robert Griffin III. No action in a preseason game. He was hopeful, but staying patient here at 33-7, mid-stages 3rd quarter. His offense has built a couple of drives, scored twice in about 2 minutes and 42 seconds. If they can make something happen here, which will start with an offside, Griffin throws it complete, and they won't need the flag as Joshua Morgan keeps going, stays on his feet. to the 24. So forget the 5-yard gain. Take the 19 and a first down.
Joshua Morgan dropped the ball earlier in the game. This time he receives a strike from Griffin. And watch him work after the catch. That's how you run the football. A little up-tempo here by the Redskins. Don't lose sight of Griffin as a runner. We haven't seen him take off from the pocket yet.
24. This is underneath. It's Jordan Reed. Half dozen as Michael Kendricks combines to make the tackle with Patrick Chung. And you can feel in the stadium the momentum building. Remember the euphoric appreciation for Griffin coming back from the injury when he was introduced. And the Eagles just shut everybody up with their great run of offense in the first half. Flipping the script here in the second. Griffin underneath. Santana Moss. First down. Right around the 39-yard line.
Philadelphia Eagle defense gave up a franchise record for yardage last year. They went out and added 6 new starters. But they still have some high-priced pass rushers out there. Trent Cole, number 58. Fletcher Cox, 91, is a first-round draft choice. Barwin just collected a check to rush on the opposite side. They need some pressure.
Roy Halou Jr. bounces off the Kendricks tackle. Out to midfield quickly. Here come the Redskins.
Griffin has found his rhythm. And now Philadelphia looks like they're gassed on defense.
Santana Moss limped off the field, took a hit on that prior play when he made the catch. Griffin throws. It's Hankerson. Touchdown earlier. Gain of about 8. 7.5 to go.
Philadelphia repeating coverages. They've gone to some fresh defensive linemen. Benny Logan, the rookie out of LSU, number 96, into the ball game, number 90. Clifton Gathers is in the game.
It's Bill Davis, the defensive coordinator, on the left side of the screen. Griffin throws. Just off for Aldrick Robinson. Fans want a flag. It's not coming. Bradley Fletcher in coverage.
I think it's a good call, good no call by the official. Fletcher, the ex-Los Angeles Ram, jumps the underneath route. Ball's a little high. Good no call. St. Louis Ram. What's wrong with you, Mike?
Do I go this is what happens when you turn 50, or I'll let that go?
3rd down and 2. Garcon at the bottom of the screen versus Kerry Williams.
No Santana Moss. Quick timeout by Griffin. You saw the play clock running down. I mentioned Moss, who got hurt earlier on this drive. So good in the slot. You're trying to come back. Hate to burn one of those timeouts. Coach Gary Kubiak's done a great job as Andre Johnson's gotten later in his career, keeping him fresh for games. Twice an All-Pro. He's ready to start another season against the Chargers. That game coming up next as we wrap up the opening night Monday Night Football doubleheader. Kick time, 10:25 Eastern, 7:25 Pacific. 3rd and 2 off the Redskin timeout. The Eagles bring pressure. Griffin throws. It is caught by Moss. Inbounds for the first down. Remember, he wasn't on the field because of the injury before the timeout. Comes back and makes a big play to continue the drive.
Great throw and great concentration by Moss on the sidelines. Clearly gets both feet in. Beats Jordan Poyer, the rookie.
37-yard line. Griffin underneath from Moss. That time it's Brandon Boykin able to slap it away.
Roy Halou is doing a nice job as the 3rd down back, picking up blitzes, and Philadelphia continues to rock Washington with up-the-gut blitzes. But watch Roy Halou, who's done an excellent job on the last 2 possessions, sticking his face in there, giving his quarterback a chance.
Totally different offense here for the Redskins. It's their 38th play of this second half. Griffin's pass is deflected and incomplete.
Had Leonard Hankerson wide open, dragging across the middle. Tipped passes have become such a big part of the National Football League. J.J. Watt made it famous last year with 17 of them.
Cedric Thornton gets this one.
This time 6'4" Thornton An uncommon long arm defensive end in this 3-4 defense. It paid off there.
7:01 left, down 13. I think 4-down territory.
Watch the blitz right up the middle again.
From the 37-yard line. Griffin trying to scramble, trying to escape, and on the run he fires. Hankerson couldn't pull it in. Tough catch to make with Bradley Fletcher trailing. See what Mike Shanahan will do. 4th down, 6:53 to go. Down 13. We'll assume he's going to go. And he will.
These are plays that the Washington Redskins receivers need to get accustomed to again. Robert Griffin's ability to extend plays in live game situations. They need to make that play. Hankerson has to stay alive and track the sideline.
Gotta go quick. Just beat the clock. False start, Trent Williams, I think. A timeout? No, false start. False start on Trent Williams, the left tackle.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
We got a long way to go in this situation. They take a timeout in a 2-minute drill. That time the clock is winding down. Roberts clapping his hands, trying to get the football. Williams jumps offside. 4th and 10 is one thing. 4th and 15 is clearly another.
Bad night for penalties for the Redskins. 9 for 70 yards. First down away to the 27. Can they get there? Eagles rushing 5. Griffin fires down the middle. It is incomplete with no flag. Gary Williams makes the hit on Aldrick Robinson after Robinson contacted the ball. And a good-looking drive is stopped with 4 consecutive incompletions, and the Eagles have it on down.
You know, Philadelphia has had a lot of free agent corners come in here and play well. Troy Vincent, Asante Samuel. Things didn't work out with Nnamdi Asomugha, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, but Gary Williams has come in here from the Baltimore Ravens. I've seen him blitz, get a sack, make a dynamic interception. He's also just helped the Eagles get off the field in a critical 4th down. Welcome to Philadelphia.
So Vick back on the field. Still time at 6:48. And the Redskins defense needs to stop, and they get McCoy on the run after a good gain of about 5 for LaShawn.
Philadelphia surprisingly still in a 1-back set, running these zone read plays. Keep an eye on Michael Vick. I call it the disconnect, Mike. After he hands the ball off, there's a disconnect. And watch him as he carries out his fake. It looks to me like the Redskins are banking on Vick handing the ball off. I would not be surprised if number 7 kept it one more time.
Remember, it looked like he had injured himself after that long 36-yard run on the prior drive. This is Boykin this time running to the left, getting close to midfield. Brown, I should say. Bryce Brown running to midfield. Go up 3rd and 2. You can see what I was talking about with Vick. May have injured that groin on that run.
He might be playing possum as well, Mike. He did that to me a couple of times.
Did he really?
I thought he had nothing left, and he ran by me, and I could just hear the back of him. 3rd down into a must-stop situation for the Redskins. D'Angelo Hall at the bottom of the screen. Josh Wilson at the top. They'll be asked to play man-to-man coverage here for sure.
Play clock ran out.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
It's hard to believe the offense that you couldn't keep up with in the first quarter would ever get a delay of game. And they were in control of the clock there at the line of scrimmage.
That's where Chip Kelly needs to take over and take the timeout himself right there on the sideline. You don't want to be in a 3rd down and 7 against Jim Haslett unless you're really someone looking for trouble. Costly mistake by Philly.
Vic has only completed one pass here in the second half. Forgot to put his mouthpiece in for this play. Flings it out to Avant. Can he get the first down? Reaching forward as he was tackled by E.J. Biggers for the mark. Let's see where it ends up. It looks like the spot from the head linesman will give him the first down. What a play by the veteran Avant in his 8th year out of Michigan.
What a sellout for his teammates. Avant fumbled earlier in this half and really set the tone for a Redskin comeback, but watch him fight for the first down. You knew exactly where that stake was, Mike. That's a veteran play by Avant.
Look at it there, trying to break the plane that was there for the first down. Redskins talking about it, and the timeout's taken here by Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly saw that clock going down this time. He says, I'll take the timeout myself. Four-minute offense. The only enemy is the clock. I know Chip Kelly's telling Michael Vick, ball security, wind the clock to within 5 seconds, and tell your teammates to stay in bounds.
Certainly a very different feel to their offense in the second half. What has happened? What has changed with Philadelphia?
Well, they got ahead 33-7 after the breakout run by McCoy.
Right.
And they got off the gas pedal a little bit, played a little bit more conservatively. Avant's fumble set the tone for this Redskin comeback, and Washington actually did some things on offense that they didn't do in the first half.
They kept the ball away from Philadelphia.
Yes, they did.
And hand them the gifts. 1st and 10, and it's a run inside by McCoy, well over 150 yards with 180 tonight. Adds to that with a couple there, and down 13. Mike Shanahan's going to start using his timeouts here, knowing he needs the ball twice. So one timeout left at 4:39 to go.
Opening games are tough, Mike, but I can only imagine what the Redskins went through trying to prepare for this Philadelphia Eagle football team. Well, new defensive coordinator Bill Davis, who was in Cleveland as a linebacker coach last year.
Right.
Totally new staff on offense.
And he was a coordinator over in Arizona and San Francisco and other places, right?
Yeah, I mean, what do you prepare your team to do? And some of the formations, some of the plays and the tempo of Philadelphia in the first half shocked everyone.
So 2nd and 8, right back to McCoy. He gets another couple of yards, and Shanahan takes the timeout with 4:34 to go. We walked in on Saturday to talk to the Redskins and visit with them, and Jim Haslett, their defensive coordinator, came in. He's seen months and months of Oregon film, and he said, boy, did you see the Oregon offense against Arkansas State last year?
3 years ago. Yeah, the poor guy's had a lot of time on his hands. And he's one of the best in football. This staff at the Redskins has been together for quite some time. They're going to have to see Philadelphia again later in the season. This will be a great learning tool for them. There's been some really good things, and there's been some eye-opening things. But one thing for sure, young Bakari Rambo, E.J. Biggers, this safety situation has to play better. They need to tackle better as a football team in some one-on-one situations. They learned that tonight.
That's the one thing about this defense. One-on-one tackling is magnified. Redskins out of timeouts with 4:33 to go. Vic will throw. No takeoff. They'll be shy of the first down as Stephen Bowen makes the tackle. And Philadelphia will milk as much time as possible before they punt it away. So Griffin should get it with about 3:45 left. And Santana Moss, not many 14-year veterans who are back as punt returners with the surest hands. 13-year veteran, I should say. The surest hands, as Chris Thompson is returning to punt returns the first time since high school. And Moss with a fair catch at the 10. All right, you see it on the bottom line, so just want to remind everyone as our game goes long. We're 2 minutes from kickoff in San Diego. ESPN2 has the start of the Chargers hosting the Texans as they get their season underway. So ESPN2 and, of course, the Watch ESPN app as the kickoff from San Diego, and we will take all of you out there as soon as this game ends here in D.C. on ESPN.
I expect Philadelphia to play their zone coverage, try to keep everything in front of them, tackle, eliminate yardage after the catch, and must rush the passer.
From the 11, Griffin starts the drive with Joshua Morgan. He didn't choose the sideline, instead went back to the middle, and a couple of Eagles, and Bradley Fletcher took the worst of that hit, and he's the one who's shaken up. Very similar to what we saw with Prince Mukamara of the Giants in the game last night. His own player got the worst shot at his own teammate as the receiver ducked the tackle. So an injury timeout. Well, there's the scene in San Diego as they are underway. Opening kickoff just happening. Texans in the dark, the Chargers in the white. Matt Schaub coming out to lead the AFC South champions against the Chargers. That game is on live on ESPN2. And we'll get you there on ESPN as soon as we're done here in Washington. Kerry Williams helped off the field by the medical staff. 1st and 10 for Griffin. Couldn't get out of it and sacked. Fletcher Cox closing along with Trent Cole.
Good to see Trent Cole, who only had 3 sacks last year, get to the quarterback. Fletcher Cox, who had 5.5 last year for Philadelphia, providing the heat.
2nd and 18. And Griffin gets it out to Joshua Morgan. We got 3rd and 9 as Morgan catches for the 4th time tonight.
It's a nice play by Kerry Williams, the right corner, forcing Morgan back to the inside. And the clock continues to wind. Nice veteran play there.
3rd and 9, and the Griffin throw is short of the 1st down for Garcon at the 30-yard line. So they need 4 to keep this drive going with no timeouts and 2.5 remaining.
Jordan Poyer, a rookie, is playing the nickel corner position. Brandon Boykin is at the top of the screen. With Fletcher out of the game. Excuse me, Mike.
That's all right, pal. 4th down. Jordan Reed caught it, so the drive stays alive as we get close to the 2-minute warning. Michael Kendricks made the tackle. Washington's got to get something to hit quickly here. They're not going to get a playoff before the 2. And so we'll get the clock stoppage at the 2-minute warning. Down 13 and out of timeouts. Desperate times here for Washington to avoid the opening night loss. And we'll see if Team USA will join us in Brazil for the World Cup in 2014. 2 minutes left. It's 1st and 10 here as the Redskins need a massive, desperate comeback to try to pull this one out. Robert Griffin III on the run. Going to get out of bounds, and that's something that's been talked about so much. Will he learn how to prepare to take care of himself better when on the move?
Did a nice job there. Throwing the ball a lot for obvious reasons here in the 2nd half, but Griffin, to me, has played much better, and it'll help them as they get ready for Green Bay on a short week. It doesn't get much easier, Mike.
38 pass plays in this half, as with sacks and other ones have added to the numbers here for Griffin. Over the middle, on time, on target. Hankerson pulls it in at the 25-yard line with 1:42 to go.
Nice job by Santana Moss clearing out the deep zone, and a deep square in by Hankerson. That was a well-thrown ball by RG3.
Looks much better here in this 2nd half. A gain of 27. 90 seconds to go. Shot to the end zone keeps the game alive. Griffin buying time, heading for the sideline. Gets out of bounds. Let me remind you that the GMC postgame will come up on SportsCenter, which will air on ESPN2. That's when we're done. Right now on ESPN2, the Chargers and Texans, the game's underway, and actually Houston turned it over on their first play of the game, and San Diego walked back down the field and got a touchdown. So the Chargers lead 15 seconds into the game, 7-0. The game's live on ESPN2. We'll take you there as soon as we're done here. 2nd and 8, Griffin. End zone shot. Touchdown, Hankerson. Redskins still alive.
Boy, Patrick Chung needs to have better ball skills than that. The one place you can't get beat is deep. And Chung, he just has to continue to backpedal and time his jump. But Philadelphia needs a safety that can make a play on a deep ball. Got to keep track of the deepest on the field at all times if you're a safety, especially in this situation.
No timeouts. Redskins go 9 and 89 yards. And this extra point by Kai Forbath will make it a 6-point game. So the Redskins got the first 7 on the Eagle mistake. And then 33 unanswered points for Philadelphia. And now Washington has responded with 20 unanswered points. And with $1:14 left, we're at onside kick time.
And this is a critical play for the Philadelphia Eagles. New special teams coach. Coach Phipp comes over from the Miami Dolphins, where he was a special teams assistant.
You see Ryan Kerrigan walking off here, John. He's being evaluated for concussion symptoms. And that's why the man who made one of the big plays earlier for Washington is leaving the field. Go ahead.
But he's going to talk to his hands team. They must respond to how the Redskins deploy themselves on this onside kick attempt.
The odds are really low when you know an onside kick is coming. They get the surprise kicks oftentimes. With the odds when you're trying to get the ball back in a situation like this are just above 1 out of every 10 over the last 4 years.
Well, with the new rules, you can't overload a side, so you have to be alert for the middle dribble. He could kick that ball right in front of him. Obviously, he can kick it right or left, and it's all going to be dependent upon the deployment of the Eagles' return team.
So even the onside kicks have become audible situations.
They're check with knees. They have signals.
There you go. Could be one-on-one in the middle.
Here.
And the timeout is taken by Philadelphia. They saw after Washington's move what the Redskins had set up, and they used one of their timeouts to go back and strategize for themselves.
Minute 14 to go. Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure, is visiting with Robert Griffin, going over his rebound desperation passes. Maybe Griffin already knows those plays, but this is a very difficult play for me, Mike, if I'm a Philadelphia Eagle on this return team. They've got a new special teams coach. A lot of these players haven't been on this team before. Look out there. Michael Kendricks is a linebacker. 55 is Brandon Graham, who's a defensive end last year.
Colt Anderson is sitting there in the middle along with Jake Knott, a linebacker, in case Forbath tries to go one-on-one the kicker and dribble it down the middle. Dave Phipp, special teams coach, is trying to set it up after seeing how Washington reacted. They move in a similar fashion. And here we go. Tries to get the big bounce downfield. It is free. Knott came back to try to dig it out of the pile, and who knows who's got it down there. Now they will pull bodies off. Penalty flag down. Back at the 40-yard line, right at the kick spot. And the fight for the ball becomes a fight with a couple of players off the bottom of the pile, and the Eagles do recover. Jason Avant, who was the player trying to make the recovery live, had it lost at the bottom of his feet, and he dug down there at the bottom to try to get it at the end.
Wow. That's a great play by Avant.
Philadelphia recovered the ball on the onside kick. Offside, kicking team number 11. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed from the dead ball spot. First down.
So Aldrich Robinson left and was over the line before the kick by Forbath, so that becomes insignificant. And Chip Kelly is going to get a win in his first NFL game. And it was spectacular there for a stretch through the first half. The offense came back to earth in the second half. Only 5 first downs compared to the 21 they had in the first half.
Well, they have to work on closing games out. There's no question about that. Also got to take a look at Michael Vick. And is he okay? He clearly wasn't the run threat down the stretch that he was early in this game. But congratulations to Chip Kelly. An eye-opening win in his debut. That helps a head coach in your first game, getting on the plane, credibility, everybody's excited.
Especially when, John, it started with guys were wearing sweatsuits when we met them yesterday. The players are practicing on what used to be their off days. They're taking off Mondays and practicing on Tuesdays. So it's different than it was around here. And to get the buy-in factor, winning helps a heck of a lot. And Chip Kelly gets a win in his first game as an NFL head coach, and he beats a 2-time Super Bowl champion and doing it in Mike Shanahan, just the 8th time that in your NFL debut, coach beats a 2-time Super Bowl champion. London Fletcher had a ton of work out there, and Chip Kelly with great admiration for what he had to do here tonight. 33-27. As John said, the Redskins go to Green Bay to play the Packers on Sunday. And the Eagles have 3 games in 11 days. They have their home opener against the Chargers and then Andy Reid in Kansas City coming the following Thursday. Lisa Salters, John Gruden, Mike Tirico, we say so long to you from Washington. The Chargers leading the Texans 7-0. Let's get you out there live now. Chris Berman, Trent Dilfer, and Sal Palantonio for Game 2 of the Monday Night Doubleheader.